Ah, there we go. I was muted. Wait a minute. Does that mean it works? It does. Okay. Sorry, those are frameless scenes. I think I need to go into what is it, broadcast mode to see those. I moved the fan really far away. How is my voice? How do I sound? This is on the Focusrite 2i2. Can I move these around, or do I need to? Why are those like? How do I move them to the top? Hold on. Let's go back to the audio sources real quick. So it's a blank screen for you guys. Rode 2 and 2i2 are up at the top in this one. And there's desktop audio and Rode. How do I go into advanced audio properties? Maybe I can move them? I can't move them. Hey, Bellum. Oh, I'm still figuring out stuff with my setup. I think maybe I just need to get rid of all the old Rode ones. So let's delete those. Remove, yes. That means I'm only using the Focusrite 2i2 and the, hold on. I'll have to go to like broadcast mode. Okay, here we are. Sorry about that. I'm still figuring out the setup. Oh, let's get YouTube started up here. This is DJ Everyday. New stream. Look at my thumbnail. I have a thumbnail. Okay, mute that, and then pop out that chat. I need to figure out how to automate that. All of my Stream Deck stuff that goes through Node-RED is all broken because I totally reorganized all my scenes in OBS. What's up, Shorted It Out? How you doing? Your chat didn't come through. I moved the fan far away because people could, like, I could hear it in headphones. So I don't know what to do about that. I need to have that fan a little closer. I'm going to be a sweaty mess by the time I'm done. There is a very, very light breeze because I moved the fan like way back on the floor. I did a bunch of tuning with this thing. I don't know if I have the noise gate still enabled. Let me check. The noise gate is disabled, I believe. Yeah, I think I have the noise gate disabled, so when I'm quiet, there's still audio. There's still audio. There's like a ton of audio when I'm quiet. I don't know how to cut it out. Oh, my old setup would cut it out really, really well. Some kind of echo? Where are we echoing from? Let's see. Where would I be echoing from? Is that on the music too? It probably is. Is desktop audio? No, desktop audio is not picking up my microphone. Yeah, okay, where's that coming from? Hold on. Unless it's my microphone picking up the speakers, that would be terrible. Is it on my voice or is it on the main thing? Like voice or music? Test 1, 2, 3. Now I'm not getting any. Why would there be an echo in my voice? How about that? Did that do it? Or am I still echoey? Sounds not as clean and isolated as before. That you're gonna get that. That's what we're gonna get, unless I can figure out what to do with the mixer here. Where's my microphone? Wait a second. Hold on. Oh, that doesn't actually mute me anymore. Hold on. You guys are listening to my dick. Now you're not. Now you're actually listening to me beneath my face. So it should sound a little better. That should be a little better. Like if I mute this. Yeah, this should sound a little better, but I don't like it. I'm going to reposition this one sec. We got to fix all my Stream Deck stuff. All my Stream Deck stuff is now broken because I renamed a whole bunch of stuff. So like the scenes that things are controlling are just wrong. Some of the things will still work, but yeah, I changed things to use a couple plugins in order to have these sort of bobble windows. Actually, this one should be only 2 things in here. So let me just rearrange this. And what I can do here, we'll just do desktop. What I can do is I can actually click on the thing. Oh, is it locked? It's locked. Hold on. Wait, what is unlocked here? Oh, the display capture should be locked. Okay, so this would be the thermal frame. I can take it. No, as long as I can click on it. Can I please click on the thing? Frame, thermals. Oh, I see. That's locked. I see. So the background's locked. That's unlocked. This one's locked. Streamlabs will lock down. Just lock everything down. Just lock them all so I can't touch it. And then when I need to move something, I can unlock it, grab it, move it over. And then I can go to this one. Yeah, see, I can just have them kind of like lazily be in this area. Oh, whoa, whoa. OBS, you have to like double click stuff in order to get it to move properly. And it has to be unlocked. God, OBS is just so annoying sometimes. Yeah, see, I can do stuff like this. I need to have a frame that says whether I'm like muted and stuff like that, but I like these diegetic graphics a little bit better. Technical difficulties I have to manually turn off, and that means going into the other scene. I wonder if I went to the broadcast view. Which one is that? Stats, multi-view? No, that's not the right. Docs, scene collection? No, tools, edit. I'm trying to go into the broadcast view. I don't remember how to do that in OBS. It's been a little while. Scene list, lister grid, stats, multi-view full screen. I don't want to do that. Multi-view windowed. No, that's not. Actually, that's a pretty cool tool. You can take a look at all your different scenes. Flipping SCE to aux. What are you talking about? Huh? Oh. Gotta fit a square peg in a round hole? I'm just looking through my settings here. I forget how to go into the broadcast view where you kind of queue up the scene and then you send it over and it enables. But yeah, this is the thing. I've got all these little frames, and these actually exist as their own scenes. So there's there's like that scene, and that's just like its own thing. I got one that has all the frames, every frame that I've got is here. I probably need to make like a thing to go around the technical difficulties, and then I'd like to put like text on these. It'll say like face cam, and then this one will say, you know, spring arm, stuff like that. Studio mode on the right side. Oh, I see. The UI of OBS is just so much fun. So much fun. Love the UI. There's all these like view settings and stuff like this up here. Right? So like up here I've got view, reset UI, scene list mode, all these different functions right here, right? It's great. Except that studio mode is down here. It's covered by stuff. Studio mode is down here with the broadcasting controls. Ridiculous. All right, so let's get this on the other screen here. Let's get it maximized because I can utilize all this space now. And then I can go to studio mode. And now, if I need to, I can go to, let's see how I operate this. If I go to audio sources, nope, that's on the broadcast. That didn't work. The one on the left is the broadcast, right? Or is the one on the right what I'm broadcasting? Did the scene change for you guys? Did it go blank? Like, okay, there it transitioned over, and there it didn't. So if I transition here, and I go to the technical issues screen, you guys aren't seeing it yet. So it's the one on the right is what I'm actually broadcasting. That's how it is. Okay, so it's the screen on the right is the one that I'm broadcasting. So now if I need to adjust something, I can go into the audio sources by clicking on that. If I need to change the overlays, I can click on the overlays. I guess I just need to do broadcast mode more often because this is where all the overlays are, is in a totally blank scene. There's nothing else going on here, and that's what I can point node red to so that my buttons work again, and I can automate things a little bit more and just get stuff going properly. All right, so that's how I got to do that in the future. I'm going to be going back and forth from studio mode quite a bit, aren't I? Because like when I'm using the microscope, this transition there we go. When I'm using the microscope, I kind of want to be able to see the microscope and not have it in this tiny little window over here. Whoa, lots of stuff going on at once. The computer does not like that. Hello, computer. Oh God, too much stuff going on. Okay, so let's get out of studio mode because it's like stressing out all my equipment. That should be turning on right now. I guess that didn't really work. And then these I want to kind of rearrange a little bit. So I'm going to lock everything down in here. Lock it down, except for the 3 windows. Yeah, studio mode is what Leb really wants me to use because Leb does like production stuff professionally, and it makes sense. I mean, it's a very powerful thingy-wingy. Oh God, you guys are, oh, you're overrunning. Oh no. Well, I gotta fix that. I might as well do it while I can. Let me go back into studio mode and go frameless chat. There we go. Oh no, frame chat. There we go. Doing this in the background. You guys can't see it. You'll see it in a minute. Hold on. Let's go to chat window. You guys a little smaller. A little taller. Get you to fit just barely. I'd like that cutoff to be at the top of this window. I guess I'll preferentially cut it off at the very top, because see how it's kind of clips up there? I want that to look natural. So it'll look natural like this as it scrolls up, and I guess new messages appear at the bottom there. Okay, so that's fixed the border issue. I guess I could also move you guys this way a little bit, but I have a feeling some of those YouTube logos are going to then clip up into that bar. Unless I put this below the panel, but I think the panel is tinting itself. Yeah, the tint is on the panel itself. Yeah, I can't do that. So I'm going to move you guys back up, otherwise you're disabled. There we go, and lock you down. Lock and lock. Oh yeah, the temporary backing, well, temporary backing was so I could work on it in its own window. If I turn that on, it's like... Turn that off. Okay, so now go back to where we were, which is the get out of studio mode. There we go. And now I can take this and mess around with it. Cool. Get you guys sized there. This should be much larger and up here. Overlapping windows are too fun. It's too fun. I'll try to move you guys out of the way. You guys should be smaller. You should be smaller. It's not your show. It's my show. I'm the star. It's my show. I'm the star. Me. Oh, bother. Not you. Thermals are like 2 pixels by 2 pixels. It's kind of a very small thing. I don't know what the best look for this is. Just get this out in the open. Overlap chat a little bit. Ooh, look, it's got a translucent background. How cool is that? Come on. I'm having fun. Fun not playing the game that everybody's playing today. Everyone and their dog is playing Oblivion, except for me. I'm not cool enough. This is cancel stream. Pull this in a little bit, I think. Yeah, this is good. DJ Everyday does more like techno-y kind of stuff, so it's a really good mix. This should be on top, actually. You guys can get covered over by the thermal imager. The Oblivion remaster, remake, or whatever is out. Everyone and their dog is playing it right now. Too much wasted space. This has to go to the edge. Bring this in and put it above thermals. There. And I think there barely should be overlap. But that doesn't really work, does it? I can't decide. I need like a limitation to make the decision for me. Or should it be like this? What about mod compatibility? Apparently, it's very, very moddable off the bat, I hope. Although I'll wait and see about that one. Because it uses the same engine underneath the Unreal 5 stuff. So the Unreal 5 stuff is put on top of the original engine. Never played the game vanilla. I played it on console a lot. I fell asleep to that damn music all the time. So I need a spring arm micro scene. We need to make a new scene. I'm going to duplicate this one. Call it spring arm or multi. Name it the same convention. Multi to spring arm. Then what else did we have on this one? We had like the microscope. You know, that spring arm microscope one, I don't think I ever really used it. So maybe that's not, the setup feels very unfamiliar to me. Yeah, because I can have you guys kind of naturally come in, or I could have you in a window. in the window, it persists permanently. When it comes up naturally like this, yeah, I think that's maybe the better thing. I've settled on this stuff a long time ago. Stream starts soon though. That should get its own thing. I'll put a little frame around that and give it like a smoked back panel, and that'll look pretty good. Yeah, I don't know to what end, like, can the totem pole grow? How much stuff can they layer on top of itself? Like, how many game engines can we get in here? You got the Gamey Bro engine from the original Oblivion and stuff, and that game engine has been through a lot. It's the same engine in Skyrim. It's the same engine in Starfield. Oh no, our game engine. It's slowly growing into the 21st century, but at what cost? All those loading screens apparently is all the cost. But then we can layer Unreal 5 on top of it to render everything like super nice. I don't know. I don't know to what end. Like, what is that? How deep can that go? And you guys probably could hear all the ice moving in this glass because of this stupid audio stuff of the Rodecaster 2. What up, Wayne Johnson? I welcome opinions about audio today. I probably should have made an overlay that says that. Because this microphone it's the same microphone, but the audio tools that are running it are different. And so I don't have the really tight control of the compressor, and I don't have sort of that custom EQ that'll cut out the frequencies that I really don't want. I do have a 3-point EQ, and I do have a compressor, but the compressor is not nearly as featureful as I need it to be. So I swear I'm hearing strange compressor artifacts. Do I have the noise gate on? Let me check. Yeah, I welcome opinions. That's the equalizer, that's on. How do I... this thing, if I browse through the effects, it's gonna re-enable them as I go. There is a de-esser, so if I'm saying a lot of S's in my sentences, it's gonna sound strange. I don't know, this thing is not built for lav mics, is it? It's just not built for lav mics. Well, there's the compressor, and I played with the compressor a little bit, and I've not gotten the same effect as the really, really tight compressor on the old setup. It looks like I do not have the de-esser on. Remember when I found out about OpenMW? What's OpenMW? I'm a bit flat. I got moobs. What are you talking about? I got great moobs. They're huge. That's not something to brag about, bother. Flat, huh? Well, I mean, the compressor is flattening out, if that's what you mean. If you mean frequency-wise, I could bump up my... my low gain is already very high. Should I up the high end? I know I shouldn't up the mid-range. That ain't right. I wanted to use, there's like an open, the compressor seems a bit aggressive. It's so aggressive because my audio is like tweaked all the way up to the red, just so that I get good volume out of the thing. I don't really know, okay, hold on. Like, I mean, usually I would be in the orange, but the stuff that people were telling me over the past couple, streams were telling me, you should be much, much higher volume. And so I don't know who to trust here. I looked up a video on doing some audio stuff. Maybe I can look up a little bit more on, OBS. But you can see down here, I'm way up in the red, and I don't know if I should lower that a little bit. I can go into the settings here, and on this microphone... we can go down there a little bit, and so now it's a little less crazy. This is before the filters, though. That's still actually getting... well, okay, so there it's a little bit... there I'm not getting way up on the volumes, although there's spikes. There's plenty of spikes. Open source re-implementation of Morrowind's engine that lets you mod the crap out of the graphics and other crazy mod stuff. That's kind of cool. Yeah, that was at 43 dB extra added to the source, so this might be a little bit better. Should I keep going a little bit more? I was listening to it on headphones, but I was speaking while I was adjusting stuff. So, but then people come in and go, "I can't hear you," and it's like, "Wait, what are you talking about?" Like, I've done everything I can to be pretty audible in my own stream, to be pretty decently audible. See if I can get this working right. Sounds better. Compressor when too aggressive is like having a 5 hertz rumble. The compressor when it's too aggressive, I can see somebody doing this, like moving the volume fader up and down while you're talking. There might actually be a 5 hertz rumble in the bottom. Well, okay, so the fan is actually audible for all this. Put this back in. I'll fill that back field of audio a little bit with music. It's like a few times per second. The compressor should be moving a lot faster than that. Let me check the settings again. Which one is compressor? Is that this one? Yeah, that's the compressor. I mean, I got the threshold there on the ratio, but the attack is 1 millisecond. Oh, so the attack should probably be a lot tighter than that. 0.1 millisecond of attack. That might make it seem a little bit less like somebody is actually turning up and down the knob. The release is like 10 milliseconds. Maybe I should Google it. Oh. Well, that could have been a source of echo. How's that sound? That probably sounds a lot better now. These are all tutorials that I had up for doing the visual stuff. Yeah, I installed some of these finite singularity things that were suggested to me, and then I looked at what else the guy had on the GitHub. There's some good stuff in there. Lavalier 2, delivering rich, detailed audio. Is there a setting for it in the Rodecaster 2? Oh yeah, they made a mini one, which is kind of cool. No awkward porn tab? No, I got the folders in the background. That should be enough. I updated the software. Oh, you guys probably heard that in full regalia. We're using the Rodecaster Pro 2 now for my audio, and so this is my interface over here. I'll eventually move it back when I get everything kind of fleshed out. But speaking of porn, for now I'm a little bit in the dark about what my settings should actually be. I'm having a little trouble getting it to kind of sound natural again, like the super duper compressed ones were. Yeah, I got that. I know Apollo 13. I just didn't remember that part. But yeah, you said it's an Apollo 13 reference. I got it. I got you. I acknowledged it. It was a smart joke. That was too smart for me. Too smart. Too smart. But yeah, I've got all these cool new bubbles now with stuff in it, so I can do all kinds of interesting visuals while we're working. We're gonna be breadboarding stuff today. I'm gonna try to put together the mixer circuit that I came up with. Let's see here. I'm getting used to where all the scenes are too. I didn't hear your acknowledgement and was deeply hurt. I immediately, no, I'm so sorry. I moved on too quickly, and it cut deep. MS Paint. Maybe it's in the recents. I don't know if it's JMixer. Invalid path. Oh, I moved it. File open. Desktop. I was trying to use image masking in order to make the rounded edges of these windows, but it was easier for me just to get a plugin. OBS apparently has 1,000,000,001 plugins, and so I found one that was relatively painless to get everything together. Now everything's organized in scenes. All of my Node-RED stuff is broken. I need to go back in and mess with that stuff. And then I need to make some frames for stuff like that and a couple of my text boxes that I pull up. All that fun stuff. Because the permissions on my file server are messed up. Everything is a project. Everything is a project. It should be underscore stream project. Everything's just this new project. New big annoying project. But yeah, yesterday I sat down and I started to mess with stuff a little bit. I messed with audio, and so the audio sounded okay, and then it sounded really bad, and then it sounded okay again, and I was distraught. And so I sat down and I looked at some of these plugins, and I went, you know what? It's time. And I blew up all the scenes that I had and remade them. So now everything is a little bit more organized. That's cool. OBS volume control. The thing is, my mixer has a screen on it, and so I feel it feels a little less. It feels like I should be mixing the audio here that goes then to the broadcast. This would be for voice only, basically. This whole thing, voices in the Morning Zoo radio show sounds that I have, like the Kurla Neskar sound effect. Although I can't hear that over monitor audio. That may be something that I need to work on. It'd be nice to be able to hear that over monitor audio. I guess if I was listening with headphones to the Rodecaster, I would hear it. I'm looking for the mixer project. Cool. It said there were files in there. I guess they're just not ones that I can view here. Channel point fart, keyboard revision, M303, mil mods, Bic and Tick, Das Micro, Automaton module test for Moog. Maybe it's still on the desktop somewhere? What happened to the mixer main schematic? I know I have the schematic in Fusion, but the MS Paint document was my working document. What did I do with that? Is it in the official stream project folder? Oh, that's not the official one. Where is it? That's... You guys probably hear this too if I'm not careful. Me messing with my beard. What the hell's going on there? Ah, come on. Okay, I can get into the File Explorer. It's the WinSCP share is just kind of messed up right now. My partial permissions for the stream computer are all broken. So all that stuff should be deleted. No, I said all of it. Oh, I see. That was from a search. Oops. One of these download folders, I keep it tight. Oh, not this one. I should probably delete most of the stuff in here. Most of it is... Oh, God. It's like going through my email. It's just a whole big mess. All right. So we're going to project, stream, and then Milmods Omnipod MISC. Absurd Mixer. Did I ever have? I had a working bitmap that I was using for this thing. I just got to figure out where I put it. New Eagle part. Twitch graphics, no. Oh, synth. And that actually might be where it is here. Hold on, wait. File open. And because the desktop was the only place that I could save stuff. No, it doesn't look like it. Module tester. As micro, Twitch graphics, that's not it. This would be where it should be, but there's nothing in there, so that's why I'm thinking it's probably on the file server, because we had it. It was a while back when I still had the file server working properly. I then had to super duper update the file server to have modern programs on it, because there's been like shakeups in those free, like TrueNAS and FreeNAS and all that other business. I had to do like some comprehensive upgrades on the file server, and so it broke all my WinSCP shares. Fun times. Love being my own IT administrator around here on some things that are sometimes pretty complicated. I'm not going to say things are super complicated here, because they're really not, but synth. Basic peaks, bell ends, crimes, delay, diode ladder, display, hagioscope. 303, the output screen menu, Pico DSP, no. Public basics, peak, no. Speak and spell, stereo mixer, there we go. Stereo mixer. Mix amp breakdown, or mix amp. Try this one. Okay, yeah, that's the working one. This one is probably just, yeah, it's just the breakdown of the path. Okay, so open this with edit with Paint 3D. What the fuck? These bastards and their Paint 3D, come on. Never could understand a good tool, good desktop image editing tool. I don't know if this is everything that's there. Huh. I guess our best working document's going to be... Well, we'll work on this a bit before we get to actually building it. Whew, okay, yeah. Welcome. Welcome to the new look of the stream. But bother, everything looks exactly the same. Yeah, but... I got like these, I got these bubbles. They're dynamic, and Twitch chat's shadow is generated on the fly. It's all different. It's much better than it was. And it's organized. My voice sounds worse. What up, Tikamoski? Yeah, I don't, so I struggled with the Rodecaster Pro to get my voice to sound okay. With the lavalier microphone in that Rodecaster. I've got it as a, like a, what is it? I guess like a broadcast microphone right now, but I've done quite a bit to try to get the audio to sound like it used to. The compressor that I had, the setup that I had with it was so natural, and because it was a software compressor, it would do everything really nicely, and it could really cut out things like the fan in the background. Unfortunately, and the music won't cover me for this, if I'm quiet now, Why is it still so loud? It doesn't, like, the compressor doesn't work as a cutoff anymore. I can noise gate it, but then it sounds like it's flipping on and off all the time. So there's just this noise floor in here now. Whoa. And the fan's like legitimately far away. I'm starting to get sweaty. So I don't know what to do. I don't know if the Rodecaster Pro 2... Yeah, the compressor's supposed to be cutting it a little bit, but it does raise the noise volume when I'm quiet, which is what I used to have it cut out when it was a certain amount of quiet. And that was kind of a more natural way for me to filter out that background. Even though when I talk, that fan is still in the background. So getting rid of the fan is probably the better thing to do. But I do the compressor so that I can talk like this, or I can talk like this, and it sounds about the same. An expander before the compressor. This does have an expander. I don't know if it'll... Yeah, I could do a noise gate, but here's what the noise gate sounds like. This is the noise gate. And if I turn that on, then if I'm talking and I get quiet, but then if I talk again, is it going to catch it, or is it going to constantly kind of like mess up and not really, and it sounds like it's cutting on and off? We could try to live with it for a little bit and see if it's okay. Can't tell the difference. Oh man. All right, we'll try. These are the settings that I kind of came upon on, my own testing. So I'll leave this on and we'll see if that's okay. That way, at least I know that I'm not broadcasting my sighs and when I breathe in through my nose. I just thought it sounded a little bit aggressive when I was listening to it on my own. If you can't tell the difference, then that's good. This sounds heavy to me. How do you keep such fine order in your workshop? My first priority before I did all this audio stuff, audio and visual stuff, was to clean up. You're just constantly cleaning up. It's like the kitchen. You got to do the dishes, and then you got to do the dishes, and then you got to do the dishes, and then you got to do the dishes. And then you have to do the dishes, and then you got to do the dishes. So I still need to fix all this stuff. This one would be, instead of 2i2, it needs to be road 2. Fixed it. At least that one's working. That one's fine, that one's fine. Start soon. Multi-action. Source visibility. Scene. Frameless overlay. So that should actually work. Oh yeah, turned it off. Turn it back on. Ah, there we go. That fixed itself. Ah, who subbed? Wexo with a tier 3. Oh man, I haven't hooked anything up to the Node Red flows yet, but for like a tier 3, depending on the tier of the sub, I could split off different actions. That'll be really cool when the time comes. Still working on it. Everything's getting revamped. So we'll get there eventually, but it would be very cool to frame the Streamlabs thing in its own little frame. I'll figure it out. I got a lot of work to do on Wednesday. I'm gonna try to like add the name of the scene to the little windows, but I don't know if I want to always do the name over on the left. If I do it on the other side, then I'm gonna have to make a new scene for that. It's a big mess. It's a big mess. But like when I get Julian in here, we'll be able to both be on the Roadcaster and everything. Steam buttoner thing. This guy? This is Stream Deck. It's a fairly prominent company. This one is the big one. This is the $200 one. I bought this a while ago, and it's been sitting for years. Feel free to buy me more of these, because I can't use them. Some streamers have 2 of these motherfuckers sitting around to control all the stuff on their Stream Deck. It's like piloting an anime mech. Systems are down. But yeah, no, I would like to get this thing to function better. This is also what I was messing with in the software over here. So this is what those buttons do. And there's some pretty powerful tools to get into those buttons and make them do specific things and give them specific looks. In fact, I was running computer statuses, actual like the status of what my computer is doing, how much memory was on there, because we used to have a memory leak that was due to audio that I had to disable. But I had it monitored on the Stream Deck. Instead of having 3 monitors, I have this thing, and it actually does a pretty decent job at doing most of the things that 3rd monitor would do. It's a little bit involved though, and a lot of it is geared towards streaming, but you can do a lot of different actions with it. For CAD, I don't know if that would, I mean, sure, you could have it as your like shortcut presser, but there's a lot of like really interesting tools on the Stream Deck. They're good for a lot of different things. It's basically a screen that has transparent buttons on it that you can push. And I'm a button enjoyer. I like having an actual button to press. Let's see if this works. Oh yeah, these still work. Cool. I just wish I had the XL so that I could put more of those scenes on the deck. This is how I do face to game face. And game face currently doesn't have any, it doesn't have the same functionality that it used to. I think chat will still show up pretty big on here. Unless I got rid of that. I think I got rid of that. At least I can do the snap joke, the same as it was before. I don't have... Sark, I think, has the... Sark is a streamer from way back in the old days. But he has 2 levels of zoom, and I don't have room for those buttons on my main panel. But you can do folders that have more buttons inside of them, and so I do that. When I go to set up the stream, I go to setup, and then I've got buttons to open the programs, buttons to open the web pages, focus for the face cam, and the procedures. The procedures are a multi-action button that takes the Logitech webcams and it puts it into a lower frame rate, changes my fixed settings, puts it into a higher frame rate, changes my fixed settings. The reason I do that is because there's a bug in the driver for the Logitech cameras, for the C920, etc. These cheapo, back in the pandemic days, these things were expensive, but before that, they are cheap 1080p webcams, work really well. They take up way too much bandwidth, but I use them pretty extensively to do my stream and give you these wonderful visuals without having to buy, multi-$100 cameras. One day I will. One day I will buy multi-$100 cameras, but no, lasering a PCB is, well, I guess it's more accessible nowadays. Back in my day, when I was young, you damn kids, the most that lasering PCBs really had was somebody bought a Ruby laser from an M1A Abrams, because those were like all around in the market, and they activated that Ruby laser and were trying to ablate the copper off of a board. Lasering a PCB, you laser print. I don't know how good the lasers are these days. I don't know if you can ablate that copper without damaging the fiberglass beneath it. I don't know. I haven't messed around with that because at least pre-tariffs, we're in an age of $5 PCBs. For like a $20 bill, crisp $20 bill, you can get 5 PCBs printed, produced, and on your doorstep. Oh wait, hold on. There you go. And on your doorstep, and they're goddamn professional PCBs. Like, they're good. So I don't see any reason why you should be messing with chemicals and lasers and stuff. Now, you can also route your own PCBs. You put a very tiny engraving bit on, and you actually mill away all that copper using a CNC. And I have all the parts for a CNC. I just haven't had the drive and ability and wherewithal and time and expense and stream and blah, blah, blah to build a CNC. I would like to make a little desktop unit. Talked about that with Chester Willard in the Discord. And yeah, it's like this thing. I could convert this, but I would have to get different like screws. I'd have to counterweight the head, all that stuff that, it's better that I have a manual drill press. Even though this does like some pretty hardcore machining stuff, the DRO is broken. We gotta get into repairing this sometime in the near future. But I do have all the parts for a desktop CNC that uses 80/20 rails. Wouldn't be the most rigid thing in the world, but I think it would actually work really, really well. I think it would work well. And then one of the things that we need to do a what do you call it? Do a crime. No, we need to do another Node-RED enabled chat project using that thing. That little well, I guess white box is a NixieTube DRO. And so we can have that count up all kinds of interesting numbers. My brother gave that to me for one Christmas a while back. And I don't know where the hell he found it or how much he spent on the thing, but it's cool as hell. It takes up a lot of space, but it really does look cool with all the Nixie tubes in it. So I want to get some kind of a chat thing going on with that. Obviously they're Nixies, so I can't display alphanumeric stuff. I can only do numbers. So only numbers. What would that possibly be? Maybe every time somebody in chat enters a number, it adds it to the total. A flip dot chat supply. I would like it. That was one of the ones that I really wanted to do, and I want to put it like over top of stream or over top of burn the subs. So if there's a message with a subscription, it'll go and display whatever the message was above the board. And then that would be prominent in the face cam. It's a big project. There's a lot of stuff to figure out with that. And one of the big things to figure out with that is how to do the multicolor prints for the flaps. I think the way to do it is not the way that they have in the projects that I see. Projects I see, they're printing it out so that the letters are like layers on top of the black. I think what I need to do is a white core and then have it print up from there. Because I think that way, but the problem is that one of the flip dots, one of the flips would be on the bed. So cut it in half, each of the flaps printed as 2 parts, and I don't know, rubber cement them together. Cyanoacrylate will make the PETG all gloopy. But if I do first layer of white, then the subsequent layers are black, then I can have white letters and they won't look like crap. They won't look like I painted a print. What if I turned off the compressor? Which one is the compressor? That's this one. No, that's the EQ. We definitely need the EQ. Without the EQ, it sounds terrible. That one? Compressor. Off. This is without the compressor. So this is me talking, and I'm probably going to be able to peak on this thing, but I don't know. Maybe it sounds a little bit less like somebody's messing around. Sometimes you do your initial setup, and then over time you might want to make things more efficient or look different. Well, I mean, yeah, we're in the middle of that. It sounds like I'm in another room. Oh, no. All right, let's turn that back on. All right, how's that? I didn't mess with the EQ, but yeah, it's, God. It just doesn't let me get as aggressive. Here's what my old settings look like. Here's what my old settings look like. So this is the equalizer. You can't see it all at once. I have a high pass and a low pass on the equalizer, and they're aggressive. They really do cut out. Now I sound close again. What the hell? The lavalier microphone, man, I'm telling you. So that's the EQ, right? And I should do a little bit more audio engineering here because I should probably be dipping between 3 and 4. But I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 bands. It's a 4-band EQ, and they're custom frequencies. I could probably do a little bit more work and maybe get rid of muddy sounds in there, but I want to get myself away from having the EQ on my computer. I don't want that on the computer no more. So then the compressor looks like this. This is way different than anything, you know, M Audio planned on or anything like that. This is my super aggressive lavalier microphone EQ. Klipsch ES6. What's the band look like on those? I always hate spelling these audio company names. I always get it wrong. ES6 frequency. Go to an image search. So this is the ES6. So that's pretty good. It's pretty good. The speakers that I've got going on right now are M Audio, and I don't even know what type they are. They sound like little wooden boxes. Get that back over there, and then get my thing back here. But yeah, that compressor I cannot replicate in the Rodecaster Pro 2. And I'm kind of pissed off that I can't. It's like not that unique of a compressor. It's just really aggressive on the heel, and it just sort of flattens everything out so that, you know, I sound like I'm as close to you as I need to be for you to hear me. And then when I stop talking, it'll shut it off, not using noise, but by using volume. So any low volume stuff is cut with it. Of course, that means that you can also still hear the fan in the background of when I'm talking, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I gotta leave this behind. I gotta leave it behind. But it's like on this thing, I could see that my voice is between, you know, here and here, whereas on the Rodecaster, my voice is the whole span of that compressor. It doesn't go high enough. Oh, that doesn't work yet. I need to fix that little petulant one. My little start soon blow upper. That needs to be in. So let's go to Node-RED real quick. Fix that. Node-RED, which is running on my FreeNAS, TrueNAS server. TrueNAS. Boss NAS. Let's see. So down here, we are looking at, actually we're looking at this flow, the Twitch flow. And if a chatter says, start soon, something turns off, something turns on. And so the thing that turns on is not, is it overlay scenes? No, it's going to be frameless overlay. Frameless overlay. And it's an underscore and a capital O. Frameless overlay. The element ID, I don't know if it changed. For some reason, I need to get all the element IDs of the stuff, which is really annoying. Let's just see if that fixes it. And then set it back. Frameless overlay. Okay. And then, do we have a button to test this? No, we need a button to test. I need a button. Let's grab you. Put it here. This will just be a quick test. Deploy. Position 0, error, wrong data types in request. Data currently request type O. Cannot set property of non-object. Payload dot starts sooner. Why is this so hard? This is so obnoxious. Something on, something off. This changes payload dot start soon and starts sooner. Frameless, let me just make sure. Frameless underscore overlay, capital O. The scene item ID I need to get. So frameless overlay is a different ID now. I hate that this tool needs both. It shouldn't need both, but it does. Let me move this over so you guys can see what I'm doing. So this should be request scene item, and then this is frameless. Frameless. Lowercase. I don't know. I know it's kind of like not that cool, but I really like Underworld style. Chemicals, boy, I've grown so close to you. Done. Deploy. But I don't need the scenes thing. Scene item ID 12. See, it's like crazy. So one of these is 11 and the other one's 12. That one's 11. This one's 12. Okay, the IDs are the same. So what did I mess up? Frameless. See, on OBS, it's the monitors are different sizes, so when I drag you guys over, I need to actually make this smaller. I need to do this with all of these. It's very annoying. Frameless overlay. So this here, capital F, frameless, frameless, overlay, frameless overlay. So I got that right. Start soon and start sooner are still the names of the stuff. I haven't messed with that yet. They'll probably eventually change names and get their own like things, but and I might use a transform in order to edit the one instead of having it flip one on and off. But that should be fine. Let's check the second set of messages. Frameless overlay. Frameless overlay. What's wrong with you? Why are you stupid? What is going on with these? Cannot set property of not, maybe because I injected it where I did. If I say start soon in chat. Oh, but that was also a YouTube message, so that wouldn't have activated it anyway. I don't have a bot on YouTube. Where's chat? Well, nothing balked at me. I didn't see if the thing activated. Where's chat? We need to get chat in here. I guess I didn't add it. Yeah, I didn't add it. I didn't add chat. You guys are gone. Let me put you guys back in the game. Add the scene, and it's called frame chat. There it is. Yoink. Where can you guys live? That's way too much overlap. That's too busy. I don't know. Maybe it could work. Or maybe I can just rearrange these a little bit and make room for you guys. Ah, it's an ad. It's an ad. It's an ad. What the hell? What? Desktop, mute. Jesus Christ. Just remember, if you smell natural gas, get the fuck out. That's all they're trying to say. You guys aren't on screen right now. There's going to be some growing pains with this setup. It's going to take a little bit for me to get it right. That is so much overlap. It's stupid. I can actually move thermals away. I don't really need thermals while I'm talking to you guys. Well, I kind of do, though. I kind of do. I kind of need it. I kind of need it. Be way down in there. Chat will just be between us. Chat's like way out in the way. Get out of here. Get out of here. You're in the way, chat. Too much overlapping. Yeah, it doesn't really work. It doesn't work unless I make you guys tiny. Chat's like super tiny. I need to be able to read it though. So this is as small as you guys get. If I do it like I used to, where I'm like huge, I'm enormous. And then thermals we can just bring in when we need it. What am I moving? Why am I able to move something? It's like I keep clicking and stuff in the background moves, and it really shouldn't. Well, there's my blood glucose frame. That should probably be higher up. I'm 242 right now? Come on. What's up, Mahalo? How's it going? Just figuring out the new layout here. With white background. I wish Node-RED had a dark mode. There's probably a plugin for that. Let's put chat like right on top of me. I think we go with small bother. Bother's super tiny. Sorry. I like being larger on stream because you guys can then see stuff in the background. I don't know what am I clicking when I do this? Oh, that one. Okay, lock that. That's like a nothing scene. Things are more locked down now. And then I should be above like that. Or I think we do it the other way around. I go up here. You guys go down here. Although looking at the computer monitor, yeah, that looks approximately like I'm looking at what I'm doing. Like I actually am competent in looking at what I'm although, let's see you guys out into the world a little bit more. There, now it's like one chat comment and then it kind of goes up and gets covered over. Maybe that's the way to do it. This is bigger. That's probably good. All the relevant stuff is in the middle, but I've got all these like fun little windows going on. Maybe that'll do. Maybe that'll do. Anyway, so is this broken? I'm going to do it again. I'm going to say starts. It's broken, but there's no error message. broken, but there's no error message. So what is going on with it? I've got all the right chapters in there. Contains start soon. Is it start soon? Yes. Contains true. So if, yeah, it starts soon is true. Any iterations of it. Change the transparency of that window. Which one? No. It's fine. Yeah, no error message equals fixed. There's no reason why it wouldn't. This errors it out because it's like a bad data thing. I'm not sending the right kind of toggle into there. So on and off, delay 5 seconds, turn it off and on. But then scene, frameless overlay, name starts soon, ID is 12, enabled is false. Let me go to studio mode and I'll load up my frameless overlay and I'll take a look at these. Start soon is there, start sooner is here. So those are the same. Let me check the other one's name, see if the ID changed. But both of them, or rather neither of them activated. Maybe start sooner is 11 and then this one might be 10. So I might have the wrong IDs. But then it would tell me. No scene items. It would be start soon. Start lowercase s. Boy, I should probably fix that one, huh? Why is it? Okay, lowercase s. And then toggle. 11. Start soon, 11. Capital S. Starts soon. I should probably make it so that I can change that input. 11 and 12. So it's still 11 and 12. This should by all means work. Scene name, frameless overlay. Starts soon, lowercase s. Wait, let's check. Capital S. Starts soon. Capital S on starts sooner. Good thing I made this hard for myself. Starts sooner. That one doesn't appear to even be working though. Scene item enabled true. Scene item ID is 12. We just tested that it is 12. Done. This one. Frameless overlay. Source name, lowercase s. Overlay. Source name, capital S. Done. I know, and I didn't think about that when I was putting OBS together, that I would be doing this on sort of a programming level. Boy. Doesn't work. And yet it doesn't throw any errors. We don't have one of those. I don't like people to pull rank with stuff like that. I don't get where I'm going wrong here. CNAME, capital F, frame, lowercase less, underscore, capital O, overlay, starts soon, item ID is 11, scene item enabled false. So that down there should turn off. Restart the URL? You mean like the OBS thing? Because I know that the, just thinking, hold on. I had this working before I messed with all my stuff, Leb. This is what we've got so far. I've got these frames here that I'm rearranging and kind of messing around with. I'm trying to fix my petulant start soon thing so that if somebody says start soon in chat, if it contains any of these phrases, start soon, starting, or start soon, what it does is, and I got to go to studio mode to do this without giving you guys a big blank screen. If I go to my frameless overlay scene, I have start soon, which is this one, and then I have start sooner, which is that one. And so I'm trying to disable one and enable the other. Now I can do this with transforms eventually when I get used to this stuff, but, and you know, I can also mess around with these. I could have one scene in OBS and everything could be controlled through Node-RED doing animations. Although at that point I should probably have done it by, what is it, Sammy board? Because Sammy board just does that. But anyway, okay, so let's do a PC view. That's not it. This is the PC view. What am I talking about? If I make my OBS smaller and I show you, I've totally reorganized all this stuff so that I've got my only scenes, and then I've got my multi-scenes, and then I've got the frames. So the frames get their own scenes, and then below that I have the frameless stuff. So when I'm in the only cams, I can have a frameless chat on there that'll go away after a certain amount of time. And that's a little bit more, it's a different kind of diegetic kind of chat inclusion. I know some streamers make it like a perspective. So the chat, it seems like all this stuff on the side is like going into space. And I could probably do that with a couple transforms, but we'll not mess with that for now. Just morbidly curious. I understand. I totally understand that. So yeah, that's how I've got it organized. And then I've got the dividers that are just scenes, so I can actually invoke those inside of the different layouts. So here we've got Streamlabs, my overlays that don't have frames, and then my audio source, which also doesn't have any frames on it. These are just basically blank scenes where I'm enabling and disabling all the control stuff. What's up, Copper? So what I've done is, and unfortunately the way that this OBS stuff works is you have to actually figure out what the item ID is, because you need to invoke both the item ID and the name, even though it says what it's optional. You could go by item ID or you could go by name. I've had to create a scene searcher node that gives me the IDs. So we just confirmed that the IDs are the same. It's 11 and 12 for start soon and start sooner, right? Start soon and start sooner, and it's get scene item ID for this one. But then what we're invoking over here is, oh, here we go. This is why. So if the scene is actually active, and so the scene actually changed, the active scene changed. That's what this check is. This check is to make sure that start soon is going, and then it'll alter it. That's what I forgot. So this one is frameless overlay, and then it sees whether or not start soon is enabled, and start soon is seed item ID 11. I forgot about that. That's an important check. Though if somebody conversationally just says start soon, it doesn't blow up a start soon on my thing or toggle stuff weird. Start. Oh, I don't think start was one of the conditions. No, start soon. Okay, it's still broken. It's still broken. Oh wait, I didn't deploy. Deploy. Okay. Ah, there it is. Fixed. And then it goes little again. Stream is not started yet. I'm doing production stuff. That should have gone through. Oh, you're on YouTube. You're on YouTube. No, you can't do that on YouTube. I don't have a YouTube thing, and the YouTube thing works by giving you tokens per like day. So you can only use something like 1,000 tokens a day, and when you get a chat message, that costs tokens. And so I don't think I could have something that permanently does YouTube botting tasks. I have to kind of look into it. I don't know how that works. The YouTube chat is kind of enigmatic. It's connected to the stream and the URL changes every time, so I can't even have it automatically pull it up like I do with the Stream Deck. It's very, very annoying, and I'm sorry, T. Kamalski, that I cannot treat it the same way as Twitch event subs, because I would love to do that. if I get like donations and stuff, which I don't even know if that's enabled in YouTube. Come to Twitch. We've got way more functionality over here. It'll work on Rumble. Do I look like I know what the fuck a Rumble is? Do I look like I have to find some kind of a Node-RED tool in order to do that. Rumble rules. Isn't that for all the people that violated rules on Twitch or something? No, that's Kick. They give you like 1 million tokens a day. Then each API call uses 5,000. It makes very fucking marketplaces, man. We got bits. We got Xbox points. We got... Rumble is for people who desperately want to say the N-word. Oh, God. Yeah, the internet spaces have gotten kind of weird, haven't they? I'm glad there's competitors to Twitch, because Twitch desperately needs competitors. Then they might implement stuff that actually makes sense, or document an API every now and then. Rumble works for pew-pew things. There's a couple pew-pew things that I'm working on and not telling you guys about that, you know, I don't really want to expose Twitch to that stuff because you never know. And OctoJ actually asked Twitch moderation, hey, can bother like clean a gun on stream? Because the technical stuff is fascinating. And the mod was like, or the admin was like, I don't know. It depends on who feels like what. If somebody happens to watch it and doesn't like it and reports it, and it gets to a certain moderator, they'll just axe your whole career. Like, it's like, why would I take that risk? You know, I like to get kind of edgy with the projects that we do here. I would love to do something a little edgy, but it's like, do I throw everything that I've done in the garbage can just because? Yeah, it's all advertising, freaking, you know, prudent advertising, prude advertisers. That's the word I was looking for. It gets me nettled. It gets me nettled to no degree. It's very annoying, and I hate it. And the reason I loved Twitch was that there weren't advertisers on Twitch in the past. Ow! I feel like a cut on my cuticle, and it really, really hurts. It feels like a hangnail, but I don't think it's a hangnail. Ah, it really hurts. Fully Band's weapons dismantling videos were being deleted, even unscrewing a screw on a firearm. Well, I know if you point a gun at the camera, you're toast. I know people got banned, although they were popular enough to get their streams back. I'm in kind of a situation like DGen is, ADH Degenerate, where they saw something in his name and they thought it was offensive because they thought he was calling other people degenerates or something. Something stupid like that. They just assumed that it was on the attack, even though any sensible person would not come to that conclusion. And so they banned him, and he wasn't popular enough for anything to happen. It was like Bike Man and Rabaz had to like say something for Twitch to even give them the time of day, which is awful. Oh, you guys haven't been hearing this music in the background. I turned it off. You guys haven't been hearing it. Oh my God. We're not working with sensible people here. You know, it's whatever. We're doing electronics though. It has nothing to do with firearms, so we're not really going to get into that. It's just one of those things. And I disagree with it, but it's their platform, you know. You can do what you want, man. All right, so this is out of the way. We're gonna try to build the mixer circuit. We're gonna try to build the mixer. Let's forget about all the stuff we were talking about before. Give me the benefit of the doubt here. Oh, thank you, Leb. Yeah, I would be very interested in that because I want to get the Ideal Light working over there and the fart box and all that. I don't know if there's like a system like Bits on YouTube. I'll have to look it up. But I would also like the Ideal Light to notify me of stuff happening on YouTube because I'm dual streaming to both. It's just, you know, YouTube, I'm very low. I'm a tiny little channel, very low priority. But if I am using tokens or whatever they award you, maybe I'd be okay monitoring chat because there's like 10 chat messages a day in YouTube. It's just if either channel, if either Twitch or YouTube kind of like pop off, I don't know if YouTube doesn't have like raids. Twitch has raids. So if I get a raid full of 10,000 people, blah, 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 lots of chat messages, and suddenly you're out of tokens and all your stuff breaks. With YouTube, I don't know if that is the case. The The algorithm probably hates me now because I'm not daily uploading a 5-hour video. What the hell just happened? Madam You! Madam You just subbed. We gotta move that. That's gotta go somewhere else. Let's put that up here. Madam You just subbed. Tier 1 for 1 billion months. Saying, hey, Madam You, thank you so much. I really appreciate the sub. How's it going? How's everything doing? How's your mother? Yeah, okay, anyway, let me go back to moderation and get this music out of here. So this desktop audio, just fade it out. That's DJ Everyday. He's a friend. He's a cool guy. And partied with him a bunch before. He's part of the Philadelphia Experiment, or PEX, which is a music collective in Philadelphia that does a bunch of huge sort of tech house parties. So I've done a lot of, I've worked with them on several very large like visual projects and sort of interactivity stuff. It's really cool. Anyway, hi, hello, welcome. My name is O'Bother, and I have a brand new streaming setup insofar as I deleted everything and put it all back in. So there's a little growing pains while we're working on things here, but now I've got these kitschy little boobly bubbly windows where everything in the stream goes on. It's kind of cool. We got all the thermal images and all that stuff. And then I got these guys moving around like this. Huh, that's a weird little, I could put them in the same spot and it would look like they just kind of like change. That's neat. Anyway, yeah, it's just slight rearrangement of stuff on screen. I'm not using Sammy board. Sammy board can kind of shift things around between scenes. That's what Flatulent Gonad uses, and his sort of diegetic visuals are just moving all over the place. It's cool, but it's not really my thing. I like the snap scene change. We'll see about, hey, maybe I want to like change that up in the future. I could possibly, figure something out with that. But anyway, it's all Node-RED flows in the background. Oh, what's this? Tom Kowalski. Tom Kowalski shifting over from YouTube to give a Prime. Thank you for the Prime. Hey, guys, listen. Jeff Bezos, he buys like a cheeseburger every day with the Primes that you guys don't use, right? It's a really expensive cheeseburger, but he buys one. So what you can do is you can actually go, and if you've got Amazon Prime, right? Got Amazon Prime, you can subscribe to your favorite Twitch streamer. And then the cheeseburger that Jeff Bezos is about to eat goes out of existence. It's gone. It's just gone. And he goes, no! And then he goes and works out for another 45 minutes. But that's what those Amazon Primes are good for, man. You can use them on your favorite streamer. I'm not going to say me, because I already know I'm your favorite streamer. But it's kind of cool that you get that for free. But there may not be a reminder of it. Wow, Mahalo's gifting a sub. Who'd it go to? Wait a minute. Abiding Ohm's Law. Abiding Ohm's Law. That's a good Twitch name. And it would be a wonderful Twitch name to put up on... That's not Burn the Subs. It would be a wonderful Twitch name to put up on Burn the Subs. Hey, bear with me. All of my scenes have changed position. So it's going to be hard for me to be snappy with my cuts. My cuts were like tight. They were good, right? My cuts, I could go from thing to thing to thing, and I would only occasionally make a mistake in my cuts. I don't know where those are anymore, so I'm gonna make a couple mistakes as we go through stream, because I don't use studio mode. I just click on the thing and boom, we're in that scene. So yeah. Anyway, we're not gonna work on the high voltage emote flipper. We'll do that on Thursday. Today, I really need to get progress done on the mixer. My buddy Julian, you guys may or may not have seen him in here before, and he wants to come back. I don't know if he's going to be on stream or not. I'm probably going to see him on Saturday. We've got a couple things to fix and a couple things to exchange and blah, blah, blah. But he'll be back. He's kind of had a busy summer. Mahalo just subscribed. Haha. Consonants, can you pronounce them? Slow down, Bother, then you can. Then you can pronounce anything. Mahalo subscribed for 68 months. That is a significant amount. I was saving that pun. But the Idea Light is kind of amazing for flipping, for seeing what's going on. It changes colors depending on what happens, and in chat, including subs, so I can stay on top of things when because I got like a million windows open, and I might not notice that somebody subscribes and stuff. So, oh, and a hype train was going on too. We'll have to get like a little model train at some point and make that into the hype train. Okay, where's YouTube chat? I'm gonna put that back up. So I'm settling into kind of a new environment here, so things are kind of all over the place. We're figuring it out though. I'm slowly clawing my way back to my original functionality, and I think we're better for it because we have more cool stuff on screen, and it looks a little bit more polished. It looks a little less like I just kind of threw scenes up. But that means that most of my Node-RED stuff is broken. I've gone in, I've fixed a lot of it. Julian's mixer I have not worked on, right? And so all of this stuff is going on, and I haven't done anything with the mixer. We kind of had a meeting. We went to a dim sum place and discussed what he wanted out of this mixer so that I could smash out all the details. And so I can now focus on building what I want to build. And I know what we need to build. We need to have certain stages in this mixer, and it's kind of a weird setup, but he assures me that this is like people are interested in this functionality. It's essentially on your modular synthesizer, you've got, what's going on over here? Veet Nukem subbed for 38 months. Hope the mixer cooperates. Yeah, me too. We got to build this whole thing on solderless breadboard. You have the model train just like fly at me. This is my little modular synthesizer test setup. We have current meters on the different voltage rails. We have a signal generator. We have a couple routing things, and then we have an output attenuator. Now, the mixer that we want to build, Julian and I want to build, is actually a headphone mixer, because a lot of this modular synthesizer stuff has been getting small. You don't need to have a full telecom depth to your rack anymore. I know everybody likes huge racks, but anyway, you can have a narrow rack in depth and all of your equipment on it. And so you can sit down on the couch with this thing on your lap, and you can mess around with sounds while the TV's on in the background, right? In order for that to happen smoothly and for you to be able to plug headphones into that, you need to attenuate the signals coming out of these mofos over here. Because these modular racks, the audio can be up to 10 volts peak to peak. So we want to build an attenuating output mixer that has a headphone, or at least I want it to have a headphone specific amplifier that can go up to studio headphone levels, and that's a particular voltage, and then have nice quality output sound from your modular synthesizer. So you plug in your plus minus 10 volt signal into the mixer, adjust the volume, and there would also be apparently a line input on it too that is just unity gain. Not like 10 volt to 10 volt, but it would knock it down to that voltage. And that needs to be in stereo because it's a headphones, right? So you've got a right and a left channel, and you need to independently adjust, or no, you need to adjust them together. A right and left channel that you need to adjust together. So in my experience, I don't have much experience with two channel or dual pot potentiometers where you have one knob and you have two potentiometers underneath that are adjusting at the same time. I don't know if they're super duper matched to one another. I don't really know about that. So what we ran across is this mixer that uses, instead of voltage describing your wave, it uses amplitude to describe your wave. And then apparently once you do that, you can use transistors in order to adjust the volume. So we have to flip our waveform over into amp space, I guess, is, AM from FM to AM. No, they're both amplitude and current. AM to CM. Current modulated. I guess that's right. It sounds like it's not supposed to be that term. AM to CM. Oh, the hype train has concluded. I can open a hype chest. Oh my, guys, let's gamble. We're gambling. I'm gonna gamble. Open the chest. Yes! What the fuck is that? Oh, it's a magnifying glass. Who's this diva? I can see myself using this almost never, but I guess for some people, that's the spill the tea. Twitch. At least, I think Twitch kind of snapped into gear. Twitch snapped into gear, and now their remotes actually look all right. they must have gotten like a good emote artist or something. Their emotes actually look okay. Like that actually looks like tea being spilled, even though it labels itself as tea and probably doesn't need to do that. They figured it out eventually. But okay, so we need to attenuate it for headphones. Modular synths breadboarding, yes. This is a little helper thing that I made. It's got a power supply in it that uses USB-C, even though I can't actually use USB-C right now because it's powering my mixer. So maybe I'll have to plug in a 15-volt power supply to this thing if we're going to use this at all today. We're probably going to be building it first. But this is like a helper thing that I made out of MakerBeam. So I've got power connectors and then metered power connectors. Then I have my power supply setup that uses Pololu modules and the one thing from eBay that makes negative 12 volts. So I make all my voltages, and then we've got milliamp meters on the front to see if anything's broken. This is what I use to repair and build synthesizer stuff. We printed out, feet and stuff for it. So what I have here is this is just an Atenu mixer, and it's mono. So what we're building, what Julian and I want to build is a stereo mixer. It'll be able to mix in stereo and a line input. So if you have something else with a volume knob, you can put that into the line input. One day I will understand this. Yeah, I know, man. I've put a lot of work into getting to know audio engineering stuff in my life and recently. Eventually I want to build this into a more comprehensive module tester that can measure voltages and stuff so that we can actually use this to tune an analog synth. Probably starting with hiring people who create art within the limitations rather than before having people who made a big art piece and then shrunk it down. That's actually the opposite, Copper. It's actually exactly the opposite. You got it exactly the opposite. When you make emotes, you want to build it big and scale it down because all the shading and stuff between goes a little bit better sometimes. Really what I should be doing is working in vectors, but you wanna always know that your emote's gonna be, really, really tiny and make things big and bold. But if you work exclusively in small, then you can have trouble with, like I see it a lot, like emotes that look like MS Paint made them. Whereas I work in the largest size and then size it down and see what it looks like and then bring it back up. That's not the way to go. I should be working in vectors and then sizing it down to the size without losing anything. Anyway, it's a whole thing there's all kinds of things you can do with emote art, but I think what they did is they've just contracted people. Like they got Tom Thinks to do like a whole round of promotion art, and I think he still does some promotion art for Twitch because his style is like it's got a particular style to it that's kind of like laid back. It's really cool. But yeah, I think that's what they did is they just looked at emotes and said these are good. Like, hey, can we hire you? There's a ton of emote artists out there, and they constantly contact the streamers. Anyway. So we're trying to build an attenuating mixer, right? An attenuating mixer for a modular synthesizer that's not too deep. It needs to be quite shallow indeed. So I have been able to actually fit the entire thing onto a 2U PCB. This is 2 rack units, just this thing right here. This thing right here is 2 units, 2U, 2 HP horizontal positions. 2 horizontal positions is enough to get a 3.5 millimeter plug in, right? So 3.5 millimeter plug fits on a 2 HP. A certain Alps potentiometer fits on 2 HP, 2 horizontal positions. This rack actually, originally, I believe Telcom had this size rack, and it bled over to like lab setups to the point where I actually have these units here, which are configurable like lab things, and their rack size is the exact same size as the Euro rack sizes. So it originated with engineering, and then it made its way all the way to music production. So, anywho, we built the mixer. We designed it in Fusion 360. We had a beautiful circuit board that I spent days getting right. I put it together. I assembled it. The knobs were backwards, but everything else was really good. Except there was a little noise. And, well, Julian had some notes. And so instead of having 2 stereo channels that you can fade in and out with one another, we need a stereo channel, and then we need a line input. So I guess that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to build. How's my volume doing? How's my voice? What do I sound like? Do I sound okay? Do I sound overproduced? Do I sound underproduced? The mic is the same. The mixer is the new thing, and I am limited by the software in the mixer, which really kind of bugs me. I would love to do all of the compression and EQ on like a box that I could then take with me, but sounds normal. That's good to hear. I wonder if I could use one of my old phones. I've got these, like the old HTC, and I could put this and then use I2C audio or whatever, like FPGA audio or I2C audio, and control it with this. That'd be cool, because then I could put this screen and computer basically in a little box, and I could do all my sound stuff. That'd be fun. I'm listening on my phone speaker. You sound normal. I hope it's a good speaker, but it's like... Okay, so the mixer. What our mixer? So the mixer... Here, I'm going to actually open a different one. Oh, wait, not in the same... I'm going to start another Paint. Start another instance of Paint, the Paint program. I use MS Paint because MS Paint is a very simple image editor, and it is... its limitations will set you free, basically. I can do whatever I want in terms of drawing and schematics all at the same time. There are other programs that do this, but the freedom of MS Paint, it's unrivaled, right? So, open up the other mixer, which is in Projects, Stream, Synth. I think it was J Mixer, or was it Stereo Mixer? The names change and I get lost. Here's the basic premise of what I am to be building. And this document was made because this document specifically was made because I actually needed to know what the phase of all the audio is supposed to be and where. What we have is we have our input going into a buffer, right? Input goes into a buffer because God knows what people are doing with their synthesizers. I have absolutely no idea where the other end of this 3.5 millimeter plug goes. It could go into somebody's body for all I know, in any of a number of orifices that I'm not willing to name. So we put it into a buffer, and the buffer is simply a unity gain op amp. Unity gain op amp, what is he talking about when he says unity gain op amp? Well, unity gain op amp is, you can have just like a buffer amp, you can have a unity gain amp, you can have something that actually like protects, but an op amp is basically math. It's engineering math, and you have what's called a transfer function. So the transfer function transfers you from the input to the output, right? And there's a bunch of transistors inside of this thing. The equation for a unity gain op amp is complicated and easier for me to just look up on the internet. Listen, I'm a human being. I'm not a professor of whatever the fuck we're doing right now. I don't know what we're doing. I am not a professor. I don't know. You know, I have a censor button on this mixer that I should probably try to use. I made it like a lower, like, shh. But I've got a whole SFX bank here. Wait a minute. Which one's which? Hello? Hello? So does the FX come through the voice channel, or does it come from... So this would be... Oh, none of these are... This isn't my sensor bank. Where's my sensor bank? There it is. So anyway, this thing right here. I can do all kinds of stupid shit like this. Ugh, I probably shouldn't though. Having the Morning Zoo podcast mixer available to me and right in my face is probably not a good thing to mess with. Yeah, except I don't have the 1 kilohertz tone at full volume. The reason they used to do that is because there could have been audio bleeding through. So instead, they replace your audio with a 1 kilohertz full volume tone. And so apparently that's funny. It's irritating as shit to me. I hate it because that beep is so loud. I don't know if I'm like the only person who thinks this. Wait, that muted the wrong thing. Wait a minute, hold on a sec. I thought I edited this. No, you're supposed to be on the road too. Okay, check 1, 2. Okay, there we go. Mute button restored. Julian's going to be pleased as punch that he gets to use the Focusrite in order to send audio to me. So anyway, what's happening here is we have audio coming into an op amp. The op amp equation is given by Googling. And so you look for like top 10 fundamental operational amplifier circuits, which is a pretty clean web page, not devoid of advertising. It does have a lot of crappy advertising on it, but it you know, at least with uBlock, it kind of shuts up once you get into the page. So you get into the page here, and the most basic one is a voltage follower. That's basically going to be the delay of your op amp is going to be the difference between VE and VS. VS equals VE, except that op amp in like a billisecond, it takes like a billisecond for your waves to propagate across this thing, right? And well, what there is fundamentally inside of an op amp is it applies a ratio like a boost to your signal. So if you take the signal and you put it into the output, it'll cancel itself out a little bit. And so, you know, that's sort of the fundamental thing. There's more to it than that. But when you have an inverting op amp buffer, in this case, R1 and R2 are actually equal to one another. And the equation for these inverting op amp circuits is VS is equal to negative VE because it's inverting. So your input voltage is equal to the negative of your output voltage times the ratio R2 over R1. So we're dividing the feedback resistor from the input resistor, and then we're multiplying that by the voltage, and it's the negative of that. So that's it. It's a simple equation, easy as can be. There's a lot of math involved in it. If you get under the hood, there's a lot of weird stuff going on with the op amp, but generally you can think of it as just an equation in your line. So when I draw this sideways triangle in a schematic, I give it the resistor and all that stuff. When I'm just doing sort of a functional layout, I'll draw it without all the grounds coming off of it. So this is just a signal inverting op amp. And I guess it could probably use like this little dot at the front, because then it's more like a logic gate symbol. But I'm just sort of truncating it so that I can draw it more easily. Top 10 resistor values. 10K. Number 7, 10K. Actually, that would probably be number 1. Well, no, number 1 would be 1K. 1 kilo ohm. But okay, so this is me trying to figure out whether or not this fucking thing will work. Because if you have an audio wave coming in, right? You have a wave coming in, and then it goes to the opposite, and you have it go back to the regular wave, and then you're mixing in another wave that's just a little bit different. Let's do another wave that's different, and then you mix it in, and then you mix it with this, you're going to get like a huge, they're going to multiply each other. I shouldn't have done that one inverted. Hold on, let's do. That one's uwu. And then it goes on that, and then it becomes owo. And so if your audio is in phase or out of phase, it can sound weird, right? It can sound weird. So I need to make sure that these are all in phase. So there's a couple different structures that are involved with the mixer, because these mixers are kind of they're transconductance amplifiers, which I thought that was an orchestra, but I guess it's a transconductance Trans-Siberian Orchestra joke. Anyway, these transconductance amplifiers. Okay, this one needs to go above that one. There, let's try to get used to that. I can't snap from the face gag back to this one if this one is in the way, because I don't see it because I'm dumb. All the scenes, there's like 4 scenes that I'm using now, and OBS seems to keep scrolling down on the screen, on the different scenes, but when it does that, I forget that I have this one that I can clip too. All right, anyway, sorry. We've got 4 different like trains of thought right now. So anyway, we want to make sure that everybody's in phase. So prime is the symbol that I'm using. It's sort of a mathematical thing to say that S prime is just the negative of S, right? So our original signal and our signal prime. We want to make sure that our S and B, I don't know why I used S and B, get to the output in phase with one another. I have a book on the design of op amps. The math inside is insane. Entire pages of one equation to choose a signal internal resistor value. That's kind of cool sounding. Would I read that book though? Would I read that book? It sounds like a really cool book. I don't think I'd follow along very well. I don't think I would. Let's be honest. It sounds really cool though. So what I'm doing is I'm just putting this down as a schematic. Now we've got several different operational blocks. This voltage to amplitude thing is a necessary evil of using this particular mixer. Why would I use this V2164? Why do I have the number memorized? Oh man. The V2164, as also used by Mutable Instruments, is a voltage-controlled transconductance amplifier, and it's 4 in the V2164. Apparently there's a V2162. You get 2 amplifiers in it, but it's more rare. These are parts, by the way. One of the things that I have to consider with this mixer is, where am I going to get parts? Where do the parts come from? Well, I have to choose from sort of a changing landscape. The tides are moving around in electronics, and while there is still analog stuff going on, a lot of the synthesizer stuff was done in the 90s. They were done with it. Everything's going digital. So with everything going digital, Texas Instruments goes, why would we make this chip anymore? We don't need to make this chip. We're just going to stop. And then there were these chips that were built by a guy. Just some guy was like, hey, I'm going to make some cool chips. And they're going to be basically a modular synthesizer on a chip. You do whatever the hell you want with it. Here you go. And then he goes, and dies. Right? He just he did that to us. He died. It was very selfish. And so his copyrighted chip designs died with him. And so what do? I want to build this old synthesizer. I can't find a CEM 31 whatever. Yeah, it was very, very obnoxiously sort of selfish. I'm going to put you guys where you used to be. I'm going to put chat where you guys used to be. You're unlocked right now? All right, you just move back over here. Because it looks like I'm looking at chat when I go to this one. That's what I kind of forgot about that on this one. I want to look like I'm looking at chat. Oh man, we have no viewers. This is because I took a break on Saturday. I said I'd stream Saturday, and then I didn't stream Friday or Saturday. And so there's a big gap in streaming, and so everybody's gone. Or they're all watching Oblivion right now. Field Programmable Analog Array, FPI. That would be kind of cool. That would actually be really neat, because you could do like a visual smattering, a visual programming of circuits, much in the same way that I'm doing right now. That'd be cool. But anyway, that would be very cool. So, so when I'm building this thing, I have to actually consider what modern parts are. How long are they going to last? Are they going to last long enough that I can still use them? And then because of the size of this thing, I need this to fit in an extremely small form factor. So when I chose the V2164, I said, well, Emily, oh God, I'm forgetting her name. Emily. All right, Emily, I'm just going to use the first name because I forget. We had it all in the engineering drawings, and I'm like struggling to make sure that I remember the last name, but I don't remember what it was. Okay, so she made all these amazing, like legendary modular synthesizer units, and the designs are all online. And so a fledgling audio engineer such as myself, somebody who barely understands what they're doing but knows electronics really well, can then dive into these schematics and do a little bit of analysis on what's going on and figure out sort of what the logic behind all these things are. So that's why I'm defaulting to the Mutable Instruments designs. We have a wealth of designs that have been Yeah, she got really fed up with the modular synthesizer world, which is understandable, and just decided, I'm done. Here's all the files. I'm gone. And so poof, gone, ghosted, after what could be considered to be a really successful career. But I feel like a lot of people do that, which is really concerning to me for things like using this cool audio V2164 chip. There's like a family of this chip, so it might be a little bit longer lived than I think. I may be able to find it in perpetuity, or maybe at some point I'm just gonna get, fuck you guys, I'm out, but yeah, so apparently that's what happened to Emily or Amelia. Maybe it's because people got her name wrong all the time, because I can't seem to get it straight. Who wouldn't disappear to an alpaca farm after a decade of dealing with online nerves? That's true. I'm pushing a decade dealing with you guys. We're getting there. I started in 2016. I would have started earlier, but I had a successful career that I was then ripped out of and thrust into the world of medical indentured servitude. The V2164, right? I don't know of too many mixer chips. I know of a 15-volt volume control chip that was actually used for a brain scanner. It's weird. It's a very weird chip, and it's huge. That's all I know about. I looked around for a mixer chip, and this is pretty much it for mixing audio. So inside of this chip, there are 4 of these really tightly matched amplifiers that are controlled by an input voltage. The reason that I chose this chip again is because it has these very, very closely matched amplifiers that are voltage controlled. And so if I put a voltage into multiple different pins of this thing, it will control the same because they're matched. The only problem with that is that this is not high Z. High Z, what does that even mean? I'm trying to explain this because people, when I do audio stuff, people get really left behind in the dust, and we get like 4 viewers a stream. What is high Z input and why does it matter? We don't need a whole article. Just give me a definition. High Z, or high impedance, refers to an output state in which the signal is not being driven. The signal is left open so that another output pin, e.g. elsewhere on a bus, can drive the signal, and the signal level can be determined by a passive device. This is a little much. So that's a little bit much for the definition. It's way too specific. High impedance just means that if you put a voltage on that line, that line is not going to affect the voltage. High Z is like your oscilloscope probes are pretty much like nothing to the rest of the circuit, because the amount of stuff that's coming through that circuit, the circuit that's testing, the high Z circuit, is taking very, very little current from your line. Everything has an effect on everything, right? But at some point it's infinitesimal, and that's what high Z is. High Z means it has an infinitesimal effect. It's like a huge resistor to ground, like ohms to ground. So with a high Z input, that means that I could put that voltage level anywhere I want, and it would not affect the voltage level at all, because this potentiometer is making a voltage level by being a resistor divider. Resistor divider is when you have a resistor and another resistor. These are all basic electrical engineering concepts, and I'm doing a crash course in them right now. This is as succinct as engineering 101 to 102 can get. This is a voltage divider. You have an R1 and an R2. R2 is pulling your voltage level towards ground. R1 is pulling your voltage level towards whatever Vn is, right? So R1 and R2 in a voltage divider scenario are going to make a particular V out, right? Depending on what values you choose, there's a certain amount of current. So R1 and R2 are a ratio of one another. If they are larger resistors, less current gets through those resistors, and you have a very low current V out. And the equation for a resistor divider, again, I am a human being, and I don't remember anything. So looking stuff up, there is no shame. Oh, they're doing Z1 and Z2. We got to use Z because we're too good for R. We're too good for R. We can't use R. We've got to use Z. So the equation is H is it what H what the fuck? Z2 over Z1 plus Z2. So R2 over the sum of R1 and R2. Remember PEMDAS. He was a good man. Died very early. So R2 over R1 plus R2. Now, I'm not sitting here doing all these equations. I'm just saying if you have a resistor divider, you control the voltage between 8, in this is the example circuits at 8 volts and ground. So when you move the knob, a wiper on one resistor, so this is like one big resistor, right? And then you have a tap. So if this is at V in, and this is at ground, and you tap it here, then it's like, it's going to be like, well, it's 100K, so it would be like 90K, and then 10K. And so 10 over 90 plus 10, so 10 over 100. It's a tenth of the way over. So that would be a low voltage signal. 1/10 of your total VN. So that's what a potentiometer is, right? It's essentially one resistor, but it's treated as 2 resistors as a voltage divider depending on the position of the knob. Depending on where your knob is on the table. So that voltage here can move because this circuit is a voltage divider. If we have something that's not high Z, that could be like another 100K resistor that's then in parallel, it's in parallel with your R2, with whatever is going on down here. And so that will affect the voltage by drawing current from your line. It's fucked up, right? So, whoever the hell designed the V2164 did not make... Whoever the hell designed the V2164 did not make their input high Z, and I have nothing but ire for them. I understand that they had to build a circuit, but could you have made it cool? Could you have been cool about it? Could you have just been cool about it, please? No, can't be cool about it. We got to make it stupid for some reason. Is Z for complex impedance, which means something with frequencies? Possibly, yeah, I think that might be it. Yeah, impedances are, they're talking in impedance instead of in resistance, which is a great way to confuse ECE 101 students. So, so congratulations, author of that article. You've done it, Wikipedia. You've confused all the Circuits 101 people, which is really, that's an own goal, if you ask me. The worst thing, the thing that I hate the most about this is the gatekeeping of knowledge. Gatekeeping of knowledge gets me nettled every single time. It's like advertising. It just gets me nettled. This stuff, knowledge should be free and easy to find. And anyway, okay, so my discovery on breadboarding this the first time is that these are not high Z because I didn't read every single facet of the fucking data sheet and memorize it. I always get burned by that. The one thing you don't read about the data sheet is inevitably something one of your colleagues knows and will tack you to the wall for and get that smug, superior, like engineered smugness that's just so punchable. Yeah. I keep clicking the wrong thing. I'm going to move it back. Maybe I'll get used to it there. So yeah, the one thing I didn't read about the data sheet, we breadboard the whole thing and then I go, what the hell happened to my volume? I thought I calculated this just right. And it turns out it's not high Z. So what we do is you just put an op amp in there and then the op amp will actually, the ratio of the op amp will do its own thing, right? So if you put that in there as a buffer, that can provide enough current to the 2 resistors going to ground that it'll keep the same voltage on this line. My only weakness reading, I'm not even that bad at reading. It's just fucking those little tiny details of the data sheet, like with the voltage level spread is apparently
from negative 300 or like negative 600 millivolts to 3.3 volts. But it's the opposite, because if the more positive the voltage is, the lower the volume. And I didn't know that. So my potentiometers, after all the work that I did, making sure that my potentiometers were just the way they should be, I got them backwards. This is a thing that just happens. It was one little detail of one of the several data sheets for several different products that resemble this mixer chip here that I just didn't catch. And so when I built it on the solderless breadboard, the solderless breadboard is chaos. It's just chaos. Everything is everywhere. Everything's disorganized. There's wires all over the place. So you don't catch something like the volume knobs being backwards because you're just trying to get the initial circuit working to see if the whole concept is functional. This is indeed, yeah, this is the minutia that keeps my plans from coming to fruition. Indeed. It is just it burns you every time. There's one tiny little thing. I spent so much time looking closely into the circuit to say, this is going to work so that if you turn it to the right, the volume will go up. And then I build it and it's the opposite. I don't think there are simulations for this. I don't think the V2164 is in simulators, although maybe. What do you say, AI? What's the wrong thing? Used in audio applications, simulating its behavior involves modeling the VCA's gain control frequency. Other software like Circuit.js, EasyEDA, Ashwelab can be used to create simulation model based on the V2164 datasheet. Is that true? I guess they haven't. Yeah. I don't really like doing circuit sim. I think it's easier to just throw things on the breadboard and figure out what all the issues are. How would you actually realize something high Z on discrete building blocks? Just from an educational point of view. A buffer amp. I mean, that's in our top 10. Basic circuit voltage buffer does not require any external components as the voltage output is equal to the input. Students might become puzzled over whether it's sort of circuit is an application. Creation of very high impedance input. So here we go. There's high Z. This circuit allows for the creation of very high impedance input. Ta-da! So again, and this is, part of this is you guys are my rubber duck. Boo, you're my rubber duck. I'm rubber ducking you guys and justifying all of my decisions. I may sound cocksure about everything that I'm putting into this circuit. I'm not. I'm really not. I'm really worried that I'm not doing something correct. Really like kind of just fucking shaking. I'm so worried about that, but I think we have a good design here. And that's sort of what I'm going over with you guys. I want to make sure that all of my logic is there, and maybe you guys will take a feather in your cap that you've listened to somebody who's been doing this for a little while ramble about their design, because I never got the benefit of watching somebody do that until I actually hit the working world, and some of these guys went through IED designs by just talking through what the circuit was doing, what the different elements do. So yeah, anyway, I keep going to the wrong scene. Keep clicking on the wrong stuff. I revamped my setup and now we have these cool windows, but a little bit more work needs to be done on them. Okay, so at this point, we have buffered our input signal. We've discovered that we actually do need an amplifier in here. I'm going to get rid of this 0.1U. Just do a buffer. I guess I was drawing them like this. Oh, different windows, different size. So yeah, we would have a buffer in there so that this can go to multiple channels. So I can control right and left simultaneously as long as I can maintain the voltage level on this line. And so we create a high Z input over here so that this voltage is the voltage that this amplifier is going to try to maintain on the output. And it's just doot, doot, doot. It could be unity, or I could put 100 kilo ohm resistors in there. Yeah, IEDs. I used to work with a unit that was consultants that were reverse engineering IEDs for the FBI for 10 years of my life. I know a lot about them, and I know I will not tell you how to build one because that's turbo hyper illegal. So yeah, we have a buffer amplifier here, and that's going to allow me to control 2 channels simultaneously with them being fully independent of one another. So right and left audio, completely independent. That's why I chose the V2164. And challenge me, because it feels wrong, because the V2164 requires us to turn our audio signal from V to A. So from amplitude modulation to current modulation, AM to CM. So instead of a wave, it's a current draw. I guess that's all right. So we turn it into an amplification thing, and then we put it into our right-left channel mixer. So what Julian wanted was to have a second input, a line input. I think that'll look better. Line in, and then this one would be the mixer in. So mix in. Oh, I called the unity in. Well, whatever. Anyway, the point is the same plus minus 10 volt signal in both of these. So what's happening here is I put a buffer on this. Do I have to put a buffer on this? I don't know. I'm not sure. I think I do need a buffer, and this is what I need to figure out. So buffer question mark, or, and in their data sheet they say our amplifier is conveniently not inverting. So one of the things we need to do is we need to check to see if that's true, because it doesn't feel like it's true. And by the means of the symbol not having like an inversion on it or anything, I don't really know. They do the symbol like this with a big X on it. I don't know what that means. But apparently it doesn't invert. So if this is coming in, and I feel like it did invert in our circuit, but our circuit was basically, our original circuit was the amplifier input, then the resistors, then the resistors. Then the transconductance amplifier. But then, in order to get it back out into voltage space, we had to do this thing. And what did that look like? That had a specific circuit to it. That was this, or was it? No, that wasn't. Where's that part of the circuit? Is that this right here? Yeah, with no input resistor and a 100K. And that's 100, 100 for that amplifier. Okay, so it's basically, in order to turn it back into voltage, it needs, we'll do a box resistor. That like that, right? So it needs to have this here in order to turn it back into voltage. This one is inverting. So if we get a normal waveform here, it becomes ooh here, and then it goes back into being oh like that. So it would be S prime after the buffer, and then over here it would become S again. That's what should happen, but I'm not sure if that's what I saw. That's what I want to test by building the circuit. Because I don't know what the hell's going on with this thing, and I think it was the opposite of what I thought it would be. This would be S prime for some reason. Those are the science terms. It's no, it's just an abbreviation. So yeah, what the heck? Do I need a buffer here? Because God knows what people will be sending into this mixer in the line input. This would be another buffer, but then is this inverting right here? So I need to figure out whether or not these two, because if it's not inverting, this is still S prime, and then I can actually put another one of these here, and I can actually get sleep at night knowing that, you know, when somebody plugs this mixer into a ham sandwich, it's not going to blow up. More buffer, more good. Can you get more op amp in one chip? Yeah, we've got these tiny little QFN quad flat no lead op amps, and it's 4 per. So we'll have to take a look at how many op amps are going to be used overall in this circuit. So it's got 2 knobs on it. The other knob is volume. So we have a second transconductance amplifier has attacked. So what basically I want to do is turn this into amplitude space, you know, invert it so it's B prime and this is S prime, and then turn it into amplitude space and then punch it into the rest of the circuit. Believe it or not, the magic sauce in mixing signals is that eventually they all just go to one wire. You just connect it all to one wire. I didn't think that would be the case for some reason, but it turns out you could just tie the 2 wires together and boom, I've made a mixer. 2 volume controls go into one line, and the internet is then grossed out by it for the rest of the time. So all I would do is when these are in the same phase, mix them together and then have them go into the volume control. So now the volume control has this unity gain input that is buffered and is able to, if you've got a volume control on another device, you can plug that into that channel. If you've got like another mixer, or if you have other stuff to plug in. But now, if indeed this is non-inverting, that means that we are still inverted signals. So we turn it back to voltage. Does that invert it? I think it did. I think that is what it does, which means we're not inverted here. For the headphone amplifier, if I have enough amplifiers left over, I could put it into an inverting amplifier and then put it into a specific headphone amplifier. Why did you do this, Bother? What are you doing in this circuit? I found, because I didn't want to do math and I was getting annoyed at doing math, I found this really cool stereo hi-fi headphone this headphone driver. It's pretty cool. Like, right, yeah, I could just buy a chip and throw that onto my circuit. I could just buy a chip. I could just buy it and throw it in there and it would do all of the work for me. And then I don't have to do homework. That's what this test board is. This is actually the chip that I chose. There is a much smaller packaged version of this. But what this means is that I can just throw this mofo on my signal and then I have this pretty decent, high quality headphone amplifier integrated into my circuit. A little scary that they've got all these capacitors on it. That's a little frightening, but I think we can get away without having this much capacitance. I'm not sure though. So what I chose is this TPA 6120 amplifier. TPA 6120, and what they want is they want left and right input differential pairs. Now, op amps are pretty quick. I know that it was called a voltage follower when you have just, the triangle and the thing is just a direct line over, right? But op amps are pretty quick. I mean, they're a series of transistors. They do have like a response time, but it's just, capacitors are just there for some voltage smoothing. In this circuit, this capacitor on the feedback line is, interestingly enough, because of the function of capacitors and low and high frequencies, how they sort of function in the circuit, means that at higher frequencies, more stuff is going to get through here as a bypass. So what this does is it cuts off the extremely high frequencies from getting out of your op amp. And those can be problematic for the op amp because of its response time. They can cause some problems and distortions. So you put this in there, and then when some screaming hot like cell phone frequency thing comes into your op amp, it'll start cutting it out. and that keeps it from running away with resonance. It's all control systems and stabilities at a certain point too. That's what the pseudomaze is talking about with all those equations in the derivation of the op amps. Op amps are a lot of math wrapped into little transistors. But this is something that Amelia taught me, not personally, but just by looking through her circuits. I was like, what is going on with this thing? And I read up about it, and it's sort of like a lot of people do it. It's you put this tiny little picofarad capacitor across your op amp so that as it gets to super high frequencies, it starts behaving more like a unity gain setup. Or rather, unity gain, and so it cancels itself out, I guess, is what's going on. I'm actually playing with the LM358 I know of. It's the slowest op amp I've ever seen. 1/3 of a volt per microsecond. Could you make like a resonance device out of a bunch of those? What was that there was like a whole article that was just like ranting against the LM358 because it's such a dog shit op amp that existed so long ago, and they just hated it. They hated it. They're like, no, I'm not gonna, like, don't tell engineers like when they first start out to do this cool practice circuit with an LM358. It's like stupid to do that. It's super cheap. So I decided to use a headphone amplifier. I don't know if that's really necessary, and it could be like wasted space, but I wanted to give this thing a particular input and have it be able to drive headphones without me having to worry about impedances and all that other garbage. And there's a little bit of filtration that's going on inside of this. This isn't as simple as just a normal amplifier. There's some special sauce in there for headphones. Why am I buzzing? Sensor stopped. Son of a bitch. I'll have to start that when stream is over and my glucose level's only just starting to maintain. Damn it! What bad timing. I wonder if this still works. Hold on. Nope, doesn't work. I need to refresh that one. Is that in here? Yeah, here it is. My sensor! Was it Afrotech mods? Yeah, that may have been it. Is that related to Afrotech, like from the drone stuff? I gotta do a BG thing, so I gotta do a BG sensor. I'll probably have to make an overlay for that. I think I may have a text overlay for it. Hold on, let's see. Let's go to the overlays. No. No, that's not it. Nope. Okay, whatever. I'll just make one on the scene for now. I've got to make a couple of these like announcement things and put them in like a little panel. Because hold on, we'll just do nah, it should be over top of everything, otherwise it doesn't look official. So plus text. Okay, and I don't think I can maintain audio because I've got to take my shirt off for this. I'll make that more, it's like over here. Now I'll just put it over here. Now let's just have it just like here. Okay, all right. So I'm gonna put on audio. Let me put up a BRB. I don't think that BRB is gonna work like that. Hold on, setup. And then I gotta go back to this. I'm learning the new setup. This is all part of the growing pains. BRB, that one on. And then I'm gonna move it. I'll just put it right there. I need to make little frames for the BRBs and stuff so that they'll come up sort of more naturally on the stream. All right, so let me put on music. I'm gonna do this real quick. It doesn't take long, but I've got to take my whole ass shirt off, so I'll be right back. Where's my audio? Was it head? Hello? There you go. Ah, this one is not. Why did it? Stream Deck reverted my settings again for the mute button. Oh, probably because it's in different pages. Yeah, so this one is fixed, but the one in that page wasn't. That one is fixed. This one is fixed. That one is not. And I think that's all my folders. Okay, so now those will work. All right, so I'll be right back. Just give me 1 sec. Okay, I'm back. Can get rid of BRB. Bring that back in. Venus goes away. On the overlays, BRB2 goes away. Gotta fix my buttons. I've needed them all today. All right. Oh, that one's still active. Oh wait, no, I need to go back to the other scene. Hold on. I need to go back to this one. Okay, the text is off. Okay, good. All right. Oh God, I almost hit stop streaming. Yeah, so what I have to do when I do that stuff is everything comes in a pod. It's all loaded up in this weird space age looking fucking thing. I hate this thing. I think it's a huge waste of resources because none of this is reusable. Keep in mind, none of this is reusable. Inside of this thing, you can see that there's a syringe needle. It's not really a syringe though. It's more to plant a bimetallic wire under the skin. And so what this mechanism does is it very quickly injects that wire and then pulls the syringe away, leaving the wire behind. So it leaves behind a bimetallic wire. And that bimetallic wire, which is this thing here, I wasn't very nice when ripping this off, but that little bimetallic wire has been inside of me. It's been on my shoulder for 10 days, and it has these two little contacts on it. Those two little contacts interface with, do I have an old one sitting here? I don't think I have an old one in reach. It's a little gray plastic thing that clips into this, and it's got these little unreusable locks on it, which is kind of a shitty way to do it. They really make these, they make you destroy the equipment when you take it out. But anyway, that leaves behind a little Bluetooth coin cell powered transmitter clipped into a bimetallic sensor that goes under the skin. And that gives me my blood glucose levels every 5 minutes with a 5-minute delay. So now what I do is I need to actually go into the software. It's called Xtrip. I go into Xtrip and then I do start sensor, and it's got all these warnings. Don't hit start unless the sensor's already embedded and the transmitter's connected. Yeah, start. And then the code, which is actually written on the adhesive, the code is, no, which one is it? It's not 7354. It should be somewhere on here. Huh. 9500 is not the, that's funny. I thought they would have the number on the on that sheet of paper. Well, anyway, it's on the label over here. It's 7171. 7171. It's like a calibration code for the thing. And now I get to wait 120 minutes for this thing to calibrate itself. But I don't have to do a finger stick. I used to have to give it a couple finger sticks in order to calibrate it. That day is gone. I've not done a finger stick in several years now. So 2 hours from now, I will have blood glucose levels again, and my Omnipod will be able to then compensate so that my level will cruise down to normal blood glucose levels again. I wish I could make the system a little bit more aggressive, but that's just what I'm stuck with. You gave us the code to hack your blood. No! Hackers are in your bloodstream. Oh, that faded out very quickly. All right, so anyway, back to our circuit design. We got to get this down on lock before we actually do anything. I need to make sure that I'm answering the right questions when I'm doing this. And the requirements that Julian had were basically that you have a unity gain line in. I wanted a buffer because who the hell knows what people are going to plug into this thing. Oops, BG's still up there. Let's get that out of here. Boink. I wanted to have like a line in, or sorry, I wanted to have a buffer in there just so that I know that everything that's coming out of this other end is limited by the voltage levels that I'm giving to this thing. So if 500 volts comes in and hits this high Z op amp, it might not destroy it. And then on the output over here, this thing is only capable of going up to like 10 volts. So that protects stuff down the line like the V2164. It keeps that from getting blowed up by 500 volts coming in. Hackers force playing Toho for insulin. Where does your mind go? Why does your mind go these places? I would love hackers to hack my blood and make me fit. Maybe they do something positive. If this is not inverting, like we were told in the data sheet, then this is perfectly good. That means that B comes in, B prime is over here, and B prime mixes with S prime. Because S comes in, S prime goes into the mixer. None of us have inverted yet. This is hard to test, aside from hooking up my own amplifier to it in order to turn it back into voltage. I could just build the whole thing and send waveforms through and see what comes out the other end. I don't know anything about this stuff. You guys are more knowledgeable in this degeneracy than I am. Gift sub savings have dropped. Get 35% off bundle. Thank you, Twitch. I appreciate the notification. There were a few ransomware viruses that required playing Toho to unlock your files. What the fuck? That's fucked up. I love it. I love it though. It's so stupid. So, okay, so in order to verify it, I'm just going to build this because I've got all the stuff. We've had it built before. Now the change in requirements is that we've got a Unity gain line in. The other thing Julian wanted was to have a jumper where you could have, I forget what it was. I think it was either individual left and right, or you have normalizing left and right. Normalizing left and right means you use the switches that are inside the jacks in order to cross connect your jacks so that if you only plug in one, it's going to be on both channels. If you remove the jumper, that just means that if you plug in one, it's going to be on your right ear, not centered. So that was the second requirement. Having Unity gain on these inputs, I think helps that. Having a buffer there in case you plug something in and this affects the circuit. I'm not sure. I don't really know. But I think it is just a clean way of doing things. So, okay. So those are the things that we want to test. Now let's get down to the brass tacks. Well, okay, so on the output here, by the way, so if this is not inverting, we've got B prime S prime that comes out as positive BS, and then I can put it in another inverting amplifier in order to make this a differential signal so that we have a positive and a negative version of our signal coming in. One of them has the very slight delay of the op amp that we're using. We are using a modern op amp, but it does sort of feature match the TLO74 decently well enough. I don't know what its frequency properties are like. I just kind of very quickly looked in sort of the new projects section and I tried to find something that was sort of the same in the right package. So I looked around and I narrowed it down by actual physical package. And then I looked at the specifications of the op amp and made sure that they were kind of close to what I needed and close to the TLO74. So I found the venerable hell if I know. Hell if I know. I forget. It's a big part number, but it worked pretty well. How long till the practical application starts? Julian's got the V1. What do you mean? You mean today, like when we start actually building it? Because that's what we're doing now. We figured out all our stuff, and I know where all the stuff is. It's in one of my bins. So we're just going to go get it. Let's get the stuff. Go. Come over here. So I dumped all the stuff in one of my bins. Oh no, we're not soldering. We're solderless. We are free of solder. Sorry, solder. Big breadboard. My big beautiful breadboard. Here's all the crap that was left over from the last time I built it. We'll clear this off, but all these scraps are actually kind of going to be pretty useful for building this thing. And I got a couple daughter boards that I made. Oh yeah, I got a bunch of stuff in the mail. Let's take a look at that stuff too. Let me just find where my my circuit dump, where I took my circuit dump with all the old components from this setup. It's somewhere around here. Somewhere around here. Nope. I have to figure out what some of those noises were that Julian was hearing too. He said he had like weird noise at low volumes, so I'm a little concerned about that. And if I jump into making a PCB, I'm not going to have the ability to, well, on the breadboard, everything is like piled on top of itself. Yeah, here's the stuff. Everything's piled on top of itself, so there's going to be noise all over the place. I knew Ohm's law once. I mean, look, man, V equals IR is something that you should just know. You should just know V equals IR. Every day I'm soldering. Sorry for soldering. This is all garbage. This all just goes in the garbage. Having diabetes is very wasteful. I wouldn't suggest it. You guys, like, when you're making that decision, you should just say, I'm not going to have diabetes. I'm going to go ahead and not have diabetes. This was a big mistake. I don't know why I chose to do this. Sorry for soldering. All right, so I've already made a whole bunch of daughter boards. When you're working with specialties, surface mount stuff. By the way, this is what the transmitter looks like for that blood glucose thing. I do hold on to the old ones. I've got all these here. If there ever was a problem, I need to find the ones that are created before. Well, that's 8J. I think 8J is too late. There's a certain date before which I can just take a file and file down the top here, extract the battery, and put a new one in, and it'll still work. So a certain date of these transmitters. I don't know which one it is, and Cluck J hasn't watched my stream in a decade, so he's the one who knows about this. But one day if I have to. So working with the solderless breadboard, working on this circuit, I want to keep nothing up to the unknown, right? So I have been able to use the exact surface mount parts that I wanted to use in this design. That gets me a couple things. One is that I know that the exact hardware I want hooks up in the exact way that I want. I can get familiar with the pinouts, and I can also see that heat isn't going to become a big factor in the board. It turns out it is, because we did kind of a hacky thing in order to make the headphone amplifier break out, because the headphone amplifier has a weird pin layout. They kind of move stuff around a little bit in a weird symmetrical way. And so we had to actually do heat sinking on it, and that tells me that, yeah, the final version of this thing is going to have a massive amount of heat sinking capabilities because the thing just runs hot. This is the V2164. It's in the little surface mount breakout thing. The only thing that the breadboard doesn't really give us the ability to do is to figure out with the circuit all laid out on its own PCB if it's going to be very noisy. I mean, if it's super noisy, we can kind of correct that on the solderless breadboard, but if it's like only just a little noisy, that might be down to just the design of the solderless breadboard. You probably made the diabetes decision when you were drunk. When I was 9, some people decide to get married in Vegas, others choose to be diabetics. It really does feel sometimes like I chose to be diabetic and everybody's blaming me for it. They're like, hey, you don't get health care. It's like, why? I like being alive. So I had to find specialty quad flat no lead breakouts. That's what these are. The quad flat no lead chip gives me just a glorious amount of space surrounding this thing. But oh boy, does it make prototyping difficult. You can technically deadbug these. You can flip them over. You can solder wires out to all of their individual pinouts, but it is a task to get that done. Even just soldering these in the regular circuit is a little bit difficult. QFN though gives me the advantage that all the leads are right on the edge. So if I have a trouble with one of the leads, I can get a soldering iron onto it. It's not quite a ball grid array where you have balls underneath the chip, and if something isn't exactly connected, you are just completely out of luck. The QFN in the larger sizes too, I can actually work in that size. Glue it upside down and then I hate dead bugging though. Dead bugging is awful because the pinout is inverted and you kind of don't know what pin is where. Yeah, we're talking about very small chips because this is 2 horizontal positions of the Euro rack system. So this panel right here, this space right here is 2 horizontal positions. It can fit the 3.5 millimeter jacks, but not a whole lot else. And we're trying to make our mixer fit into that size. Yeah, I hope so too. And I was hopeful that this place would actually fucking catch up with the rest of the world, but it didn't. And that landed me back where I am right now. I won't get into too much detail on that, but it's the equations weren't balancing out. So I had to pull a ripcord and be in the living situation that I'm in right now. That's just my life. It's a living. Yeah. Unfortunate, but it did allow me to focus on art and streaming a little bit in this stuff that fills my day. When Burn the Subs was a little bit more popular, I had actual purchasing power. That was kind of cool. I'd be doing a lot more weird stuff. I would definitely have a project car right now if I was like a normal person and I didn't have to spend tens of thousands of dollars on diabetic equipment. I want that laser welder that everybody's looking at these days. Yeah, I know. It's like, simply put, like, we could keep pace with the rest of the world and we'd save a lot of money, but I guess lobbyists would be sad. So it's like, okay, here I am. Now, there's a lot of circuit structure in here that I'm remembering having built. I guess we'll just build it again. It's going to be very difficult to get back to the sort of the form that we had before, because there's all these circuit elements that are still, like all these resistors that I specifically shaped to get into certain areas. This took us a little while to get this thing working. Now, for this test, we only need one channel. We don't need to have left and right on this full thing. The full test was fun, but it was a lot of resources went into it. So I'm just doing a singular channel test, and we're going to check out the signal from end to end, and we'll use this thing to pump a signal into it. Electronics is amazing. When you get to a certain level with it, and it becomes a lot easier, it's not just all math. There's a lot of fun stuff to do. And you get enough experience under your belt that you kind of know what you need to do. I have a lot of fun doing the electronics projects, and Julian emphasized, because I was at my wit's end with this mixer, and I was just kind of like, the ideas weren't flowing, nothing was really happening, and Julian was like, dude, just as long as it's fun, like, if it's fun, keep working on it. And I'm like, all right. So I took a bit of time off. Do you mess with ham radio? It's a little too finicky, and I tried to learn the stuff for the test for to get a ham license, and I never got around to learning this stuff and taking the test. Fatanon, one of my moderators, Fatanon, went through all of that stuff and has now got his license, and I don't know how people do that so easily. I looked at the test and my eyes kind of glazed over, so even though I know a lot about RF, I know a lot of RF. I worked closely with an RF engineer that had his own company, and he had all these stories about satellites falling off of buildings in Maryland. But so I know a thing or two about a thing or two, but I never got around to the ham radio test. That IED job had a lot to do with radios, believe it or not. I wonder why. Where are my potentiometers? What happened to those? Where'd I put them? Where'd you put them, chat? Where did you put my potentiometers? I need to fucking find those things. You guys hid my potentiometers from me. On this, the day of my stream, my vengeance will be swift. You cannot hide. They're in one of the bins over here. I'll find it in just a second. I will find it in just a second. Jesus, there's still a lot of stuff on this board. Who the hell didn't clean up after themselves? This is ridiculous. Just I keep pulling stuff and it's just still there. Yeah, all these little wires. Only resistors. No, I need the potentiometers on this thing because I need to resolve what direction it's supposed to be wired in. I think, though, that these potentiometers work in the opposite way that the Alps ones do, but these are the ones that I adapted to breadboarding, so they're the ones I'm going to use. Unless I use the ones that are on that. No, I've got specific ones that I modified. Are they in here? No. No, they're never in here. They're never in here. Darn it. Okay, they're in one of the other bins. We're back to the bins. Back to searching for through-hole stuff. My favorite, unfavorite thing to do. I love surface mount electronics. I love it. I love them. I love them. Because they're so clean and they're so easy and small. And I can just whip out my soldering iron, so to speak. I can just whip them into a circuit and be fine. These are all the Alps potentiometers, and I probably should have used these for the test circuit. That would have been good. One day, maybe if Julian and I sell 100,000 of these mixer boards, which we're not. Let's get that straight. We're not going to sell that many of these things. It's a fairly niche thing to exist in a fairly niche hobby. Niche. Maybe I'll have budget and I can get I can make things like actual test beds. I don't know where they are. I thought I put them in something, but I might not have put them in these. They might just be floating around somewhere. I don't think they're floating around. I think I put them somewhere. I had to have. Surely you've put them somewhere, right? No. Oh my God. All right, so where would they have gone? It really would be in here, though. This would be the best place to put them. I don't want to make new ones just for this test, and I don't know if I have enough Alps for this to make this. It's a specific value of potentiometer, and then I've got to put a resistor above and below it because we had to tune it to a specific voltage level. So I've got to find the 3 that I modified with pin headers on them. So if they're not there, where else would they be? Up here? Possibly. No, no. Double no, triple no. Quadruple no. These are unprecedented levels of no. Oh, there's another dump of components. I gotta put all my little component dumps together so that I have one big unified shit bin. Yeah, they're not down there. Are they on a piece of breadboard? I'm trying to remember what I did with them. Maybe they're on something. They're on something. Oh, that's the one that I keep seeing. I knew I had an example of what the thing looked like nearby. I just didn't remember that it was right there. Right in front of my eyes. On the left. Yeah, that's where I would think. But this is a Hajiwo Salon Key module that I haven't gotten back to yet. This is based on a Hajiwo design. We built a whole circuit board around it. I shouldn't have gotten black PCBs. I wanted to see what Seed Studios black PCBs would look like, but they're hard to follow the circuit elements on. This is a VCO, voltage controlled oscillator, but it doesn't quite work right. The software is a little crazy. Hajiwo software is very hacky because he works quickly. And on this heatsink, I used to have them, but they're not there. On this breadboard, I have a button, which this was for the keyboard project. I need to wire that up. Keyboard project needs some love. This is a bunch of microcontroller stuff, which is where I really should have stashed them if they still exist. But I didn't put them in here. There's no potentiometer. There's one potentiometer in here. Only the one. One of the things that I want to do in the near future, Chad, if anybody's sitting here thinking about tomorrow, I would like to get a Ponagachi together. The Ponagachi is a little AI, I think, based Raspberry Pi 0W that you walk around with, and it tries to do novel infiltration of Wi-Fi networks. So if I get my bike up and running again, I can travel around a little circle neighborhood here and hack into everybody's Wi-Fi. And if I can get enough of them so that I can get a blanket of Wi-Fi, then I can turn the RC car, or the 1/10 scale RC car, the one that came to me via FreeCycle. It's an okay RC car. I'd want to replace the motor and stuff, which would be kind of expensive. I could hook that all up to a Wi-Fi system, a Wi-Fi RC controller, and maybe I could turn it on, or turn it in, make the controller my force feedback steering wheel. So I could sit down here with Wi-Fi video, maybe some audio, and I could drive around the neighborhood with like a giant battery. That would be a lot getting to that point, but it would be hilarious in practice. Let's see if we've got any of the right. I have one. It's lock for handshakes. What does that, wait, what does that mean? It's lock for handshake? Isn't Tamagotchi one of those Japanese electronic toys where you have to take care of the small creature? Yeah, and most of our Tamagotchis have died in negligence at this point. Your Tamagotchi died alone. It did. Sorry, that's just the reality of it. Onagachi is just a wordplay on that. What, so you mean it? So it looks for handshakes. Interesting. But I'm wondering if I can get into the Wi-Fi networks of the entire neighborhood. I'm sure I could ask nicely and do that, but I'd rather break into them because I'm shy. What happened to those potentiometers? Clap. Oh, maybe they're over here in the sewing bins. Not in that one. Those are that kind of pot. Oh, we're going to need... Actually, no, we don't need that kind of potentiometer. We know what all our components are going to be. We know what our components will be because we know what they aren't. So I sound okay, you guys. It's not weirding you guys out that you can hear me like breathe and hear the fan way in the background. I had headphones on to do my initial tests. And like, seemed okay, but I don't know. Somehow get arrested. I think it would be awesome. You just have this RC car outside and you would drive it at like low speeds just so you don't end up like cocking up and getting it stuck. Because then you'd have to go all the way outside. I'd have to go up the stairs outside, go find it, pick it up, write it. Probably have to dodge cars on the road. That would be an awesome stream. That would be such a cool fucking stream. You hear absolutely no background sounds. Weird. On my headphones, I heard the fan. I heard the fan in the background just doing its thing. Happy-go-lucky, just making all this noise. What did I do with these potentiometers? You know, chat, you know, I'm going to find these things immediately after building some. Wait, what about this one? This bin right here. Nope, that's just old breadboarding components. Darn it. What about the privacy of the people in the video? Yeah, well, I have to do it during quiet times, I guess. My computer fan is louder than yours. It's not a computer fan. It's literally a floor fan way back here. What's up, Brillin Shuker? It's been a minute. My English isn't that good. What the fuck are you talking about, Brillin Shuker? I know you. You've been around this stream for a long, long time. Your English is better than mine. It's looking for handshakes, which can then be used to figure out the passwords. But that's difficult. I see. Well, I mean, so if I keep it in my pocket, charged up and active, and I drive around the neighborhood on my bicycle, will it eventually be able to break in to networks? A1MC4. We're going to have to make new knobs. And I would like to use the value that I put out in the actual thing. So let me see here. Oh, and you know, the privacy of the people in the neighborhood, it's public space, I think. Actually, it might be private space. You might be right. It might not be in public. The neighborhood circle is the plugin that I used. Let's see. Where is my design? I don't think this one has the values on it. It doesn't. It's like in my notes, the values for the potentiometers. And I think I actually put it in the Fusion file. So we gotta open up Fusion 360. Foos. I can't believe I lost those things. I made three of these little bastards, and I lost them. Well, I took plenty of notes on the Fusion files because I knew that was going to be my most complete schematic. I guess I can use AutoCAD full screen now for the next sponsored stream, although, you know, these things are going to cover up quite a bit of space. That's what I always think about. Because when I hit the start menu or the Windows key, I type the first letters of Fusion. So it's Fus. I expect the monitor to fly away. Is it going to try to update everything? Probably. Probably. Unless there's actually no updates since the last time we streamed, which was like 4 days ago. 5, 6. God. Confusion. That's probably what I'd call it if I were AVE, but I'm not. I'm not AVE. This would be mod synth stuff, which is not an admin. No. Admin stream. I got to reorganize all this stuff. I guess like feature hubs so that, yeah, we're not going to update because I just need values. Oh, it's not these. No, these aren't the right ones. Admin. Home. Mod synth. Absurd volume version 2. And then the schematic. Oh boy, I'm gonna start playing Oblivion soon, aren't I? Has it been good? Or are the people streaming it like finding tons of bugs? Bug. I haven't been able to observe. I didn't put values in here. Son of a bitch. I have to get the one that I built for Julian back in order to do that. Or find my notes. I very carefully selected those, and I didn't make note of it anywhere. Good on me, huh? And these are the only schematics that I was able to find. This one doesn't even have the right value on it. And then this one goes from 8 volts, so that's totally wrong. There's another schematic somewhere. I got to find it. There just has to be. So, not on the desktop. Not in backup. So it would be stream project. Channel point ESP, the keyboard revision M303. Did it get in here? Yep, there it is, JMixer. There it is. Know thyself. All right. So there's a couple like ideas of how I could maintain the actual stuff going in and make it all work. But in the end, I just put a big old buffer on there and that got it to work. So here was my sort of like, let me try these values. And then I think I revised it at some point using an online tool. See, now instead of these extra 2, we're just going to use 2 and 2. So it'll be one V2164 chip for the whole system. $30 and $40 with a 10K in the middle. I think that's what I stuck with, although the values may have differed for the I don't have any like I should have kept more notes. I should have kept more notes, guys. So 10K, we're using 10. Actually, I think I went with 100K and 300 and 400 because it's going into high Z. You can operate on it very lightly and it'll move everything around just fine. So let's see here. I just started building a robotic lawnmower with GPS and Android app. It's also very interesting. Maybe there's something for you too. True. Has it an RC car interface, and is it an open source project which could be rebuilt? I mean, like, if we wanted everything to be purple, I could use my old phone, but I don't think that's what we want. It would be nice, though, to have it using something like a phone, because you've got 2 cameras, and so you could have a reverse camera on the thing. I don't know if we'd have the luxury of being able to do that, though. But I would love to hook it up to the big steering wheel setup. That would be hilarious. Because then the turning is a little bit more realistic. I find in the RC car, turning something like this is a little bit harder to do like nuance with. Oh, you're making it yourself. That's cool as hell. All right, so these might be logarithmic. I would appreciate the smaller knob size on this. Let's just see what that looks like to a voltage meter. So get this over here. Oh, I haven't made a frame for my oscilloscope either. I don't know if that'll get that kind of a frame. We'll work on that at some point. I got a long way to go with the streaming setup, but I kind of uprooted everything, so. Okay, so the overall resistance of this potentiometer, we go from one end to the other. So it's a 1 mega ohm resistor. I guess that makes sense. It did say 1M on it. And you know what? It's going to be easier to visualize this if I use the breadboard. I use the breadboard to make the breadboard. God, it'd be such a funny project to do. That'd be such a good stream. I'd have to be like so careful not to curb the RC car and like leave it stranded somewhere. So these barely fit in these clips, and I'm a little afraid that they're going to like permanently bend the clip to where it won't grip something properly. I have a mixing of parts in the shop. Some of them have very small leads, and some of them have huge leads. So is this one linear or logarithmic? Seven, 8, 9. I'm moving it very slowly. Now the auto ranging makes it kind of difficult to figure out. It seems to be linear, but it is 1 mega ohm. That might be a little bit too spicy for me. I've got a bunch of different like Alps pots because of bad orders. Bad orders and good orders. That's 100K, so that's a good one. 100K, but that's a long one. 1M. These are 2 1Ms. I'm going for 100 kilo ohms. I mean, if I use the 1 mega ohm ones, then I've got to find like a 3 and a 4 mega ohm resistor, and I don't have a lot of those. There's another 100. So I need one more 100. Oh, this is a long one. I think, didn't I modify these at some point? That one's got solder all over it, but it is 100K. So there's another one. And I think we only need 2 knobs, actually, because I'm not building the whole thing. Yeah, the whole thing would be... Wait, the whole thing would be 2 knobs anyway. Okay, whatever. That'll do. So what I'm going to do in order to get these to fit in, there's a tray in the middle, a trough in the middle of the breadboard. And that makes you think that maybe I could just put it in like this, right? Maybe that'll be just fine. Yeah, that looks good. I want to just put it in like that, and everything will be fine. But then you start like using it, and there it just pops right out. Like it's barely even held in. Or you give it to your buddy, and it just like, don't make me a liar. It's just bad. So what I do is I use square headers, and I solder this down to the square headers. Let me get the square headers. They're way over here. Square headers. Yeah, squatters. Ha! There we go. Okay. So I guess we will do a little soldering today, huh? It never fails. Always be soldering. And then these will just help me break them cleanly. So 3 pins, 3 pins. Then there's that, whatever the hell that was. And then what do I do for these? I think 2 and 2. So I need 4 of the 2s. Go. All right. I'm trying to remember the last time I did this. Wait, is this auto? Oh, that's why it looks so weird. Set up. Arm procedure. Go, go, go. That's so much better. Everything looked off. I don't know. All right, so I want it to plug in and then also anchor. So if it plugs in like right up at the edge, oops, plugs in right up at the edge. The other reason that I'm using solderless breadboard in order to attach these, and obviously I'm adapting them for use in solderless breadboard, but what this does, by plugging it into this thing, it actually sinks the heat away from the headers. Headers are fairly cheap plastic with metal pins on them that are square, and they're able to conduct about 1 amp. But when you solder to them, that copper pin, or whatever pig metal they make it out of, that pin gets to soldering temperatures. Pin headers are not very good at tolerating soldering temperatures. So what you do, you plug them into the breadboard. It's going to sink away the heat from the hot solder. It'll make it less prone to moving around, and it'll help you align everything in the X and the Y. So the 1 pin over, I guess, is there. And then here. And that'll give us a nice stable potentiometer. Now, I'm going to cut this to where these little pins on the bottom here come into contact with the breadboard just barely. I remember asking you about the header soldering problem. Yeah, it's you got to plug it into something to make sure that it doesn't overheat. Sometimes you can't, and you just have to be super careful. So I used this in something and then removed it, so it's all messed up. Go, flush cutters, living up to their name. Go to the microscope for this. So I got my layout there. And then this part has to come in here and just solder into all that stuff. Super easy. Look at that. It's like it was made for it. Well, these need to stretch out a little bit further forward, unless I move the Yeah, I think these just need to go a little bit further forward so that I can plug it in the gap and it doesn't take up too much space. Otherwise, it would be like this, and then I can't get to the row where it plugs in, right? It'll cover up all the row. You need these other holes to plug stuff into the pot, so. I did what? No, nothing of the sort. I gotta line these pins up, hold on. Use a big flat plier in order to get them all to be the same distance and bend them out just a little bit so that they're all even. Or not even, I don't know, whichever one. Whatever. All right, that seems pretty well lined up. It's kind of a little weird. I think maybe these need to be a bit shorter. These aren't totally stable. All right, that's much better. Okay, so let's get the slightly larger soldering iron tip. Actually, this one might do fine. It's kind of at the limit of what this one can handle, but I think this will be okay. Soldering iron on. Very rare that we get through a day without soldering something. And then what I can do is anchor one or two pins, and then I can align this thing so that it sticks straight up. And we'll use the big solder because we want a lot of solder on all this stuff. Quite a bit, because it's basically our attachment medium. I don't know what to call it. So yeah, trying to solder to the pin and not the actual iron itself. There's a little bit of solder already on the iron, so we probably should get heat in there, but it seems like it's not cooperating. So I'm just going to boost it by doing that and see how everything just suddenly it works out. So let's tilt that till it's flat, nice and flat like that. It's the little things that'll keep you from getting frustrated at your circuit elements when you're working. Like getting everything in proper alignment, stick up just right. I guess we should probably anchor the opposite side. Anchor the opposite side. I can't believe you guys don't hear. Well, I guess you guys are like listening to me on the phone, so it's possible that you don't get all the subtleties that I do. Also, the drop in audio quality going through Twitch might be the culprit there, where it just doesn't pick up on stuff that I get through the high quality mixer. That's probably what it is. And that's why other streamers I know that have a Rodecaster Pro 2 or whatever, they complain about audio that the audience cannot hear. Say, I can't turn on my air conditioner. It's ridiculous. You guys will hear everything. You hear the air conditioner. I can hear it. And it's like, yeah, because you've got nice headphones plugged into a high quality mixer. You're not getting, like, the audio is not getting crushed into lower qualities for broadcast. Oh, crap. Just dipped into the plastic there because I wasn't looking. You did this, lines and squares. This is your fault. By making my chat move. Not using headphones. Yeah, I guess that too. All right, this can be a little crooked. I don't need to be a perfectionist. I reintroduced myself to the Swordfish soundtrack the other day. Oh my God, what a soundtrack! It was awesome. I used to have it in my car. All the good stuff on it. Sasha and Digweed. Well, just Sasha, I think. Paul Oakenfold. All the old big trance names. I'll comment in a more silent way. Don't comment so visually. I don't know. I guess I'll accept this. I'll accept it. Not my best work. Not my worst work. All right, so that's one of them. Put that aside. I gotta make the other one. Time to make the donuts. Luckily, this will be the same brand as what I'm using. I'm not sure whether or not these are... I don't think these are logarithmic. Hopefully not. There's different types of potentiometers, and some of them are logarithmic. Others are, I don't know, linear. There's nothing you can do. Your comments are coming in, and they're busting the line of text up by a space, and that's what visually draws my attention. Because many lines, many things happen when you guys comment. There's a... Your chat message goes into Node Red. It goes into, you know, this stuff up here. This thing moves. And then this over here moves. And then this moves. And then this moves. So when you chat, you're going on 3 screens, 2 screens, 2.5, I don't know, whatever. All kinds of stuff moves when there's a chat message. Now see, these have solder all over them before. I was doing something with these previous to this. But it's always good to have more of these breadboard capable potentiometers. Considering I'm going to get famous for building modular synthesizer stuff, and everybody, I'll be a household name. Everybody will take my money. They'll be like, here, have some money. I'm like, thanks. Awesome. I was hoping I'd get some money. All right, solder is messing me up. making it so I can't cut it in particular places. Nimcorn? None of my stuff has that one. I think I have FFZ and not much past that. All right, that one's fitting a little further down. I've got to like lift it up in order to get it to mount properly. So I'm going to bend these out with the flat pliers so I can get them all this way. 7TV. I don't think 7TV like installed properly, even though I have 7TV emotes enabled on my FFZ settings. But I guess maybe I didn't install 7TV or something. I don't know. It's too many emote programs. But I think I have like 7TV emotes in here. Or no, it's FFZ and then what is it? The Twitch tools, and then 7TV came along and everybody started using 7TV, and I was like, this is too many. This is too many programs. So I don't think I installed it, but then I thought FFZ had 7TV capability, but I guess it doesn't. I don't know. I don't know nothing about nothing. Make sure to remember us when you get famous. That's what people started telling me that when I made partner. They're like, just remember us when you get famous. I'm like, bro, I'm not gonna get famous. Like, you need to have like super strong comedy chops in order to get famous doing this stuff. And I'm a funny guy, but I don't think I'm quite there for like your Michael Reeveses. Maybe I could pull it off, but I don't know. I'm trying to get this to a line up here, and it's just like not working with me. I guess this is okay for a test setup. I don't need to sweat it too much. So let's anchor it over here. That's a strange time that I partnered. It was right along COVID. That COVID bump really helped smaller folks like me, because people were around and they were watching Twitch and they're like, who's this guy that does electronics? That's cool. And get my name up on a board. I still remember that first day where it was like, it seemed like a snow day, but it wasn't snowing. There were just no cars. I had to get my car inspected. I'm like, why? Like, the world is ending. Michael Reeves is unhinged. He's a pretty funny guy. His approach to engineering stuff is very much not mine. He works as like a systems engineer, and so he'll do stuff like, oh, this needs to play a sound. So I'll put a Raspberry Pi on it. And that's not, I'm like, this needs to play a sound, so what's the minimal thing that can play a sound? Why am I so far down? I don't have depth perception. I'm looking at this at the same view that you guys have, so it's kind of limiting. I can't quite see what I'm doing. But he also is a lot more popular than I am. He had like 20,000 people on one of his streams. I'm like, how the fuck do you stream to this? But he also doesn't do work streams. It's like, here's funny thing, and now funny thing is happening with funny thing. And he got it to all work in like a week, right? And that is not something that I have been able to achieve. He's a software developer, not a hardware guy? I thought he was a little bit more of a hardware guy. I didn't know that. Makes sense. But like, in terms of like, what do you need for a YouTube video? It's like, fine, you know? It just gets me a little bugged, because I'm like, what exactly do I need to play a sound? Let's find an Arduino play a sound project. And it takes me like a week to get familiar with that. Whereas, you know, if you hit it with larger systems, higher order systems, then you can get your proof of concept out very quickly. I'm bad at that. I'm actually bad at that, which is totally the opposite of the skill set that you would need to do stuff like this, which is to stream and to have like, you know, stuff happen on screen and, oh, look at this, we're doing this now. And boom, ha, 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 everybody's laughing. There was an explosion, now I have smoke in my lungs. That's the sort of thing that, like, you know, gets popular and gets you a lot of viewers. Also, I stream Euro times, so that doesn't really help. What's up, Short Lurker? Yeah, I've got all kinds of these new scenes where I've got these boxes that I've put stuff into. I still need to get the rest of Node-RED running, and there's, you know, growing pains. But these are kind of cool because I got all my stuff and it looks a little bit more diegetic, and I've got, you know, drop shadows and everything. All right, so our potentiometers are now done. We have 2 of these sort of weird-ass stilted potentiometer setups. They're a little haphazard. They're kind of done hastily, but what this means is that I can actually use Alps pots in the rest of the circuit, and I guess this is out of alignment. Probably shouldn't bend that because I think it's already at the width that I need it to be at in order to fit into this thing. So now what I can do is I can actually put these so that they're connected to power and ground. Wait, that's really bad. Never mind. I don't have 2 grounds next to each other on this board. Two pin headers might have been a bad idea. They have to be somewhere like this. So we'll just put them over here. Now this is going to take us a while to put this whole thing together. What is going on here? I like didn't find the holes. There we go. More comfy. So that's 1 control. Ooh, this is is that a centered detent? No, it just felt really rough. Huh. He's only got 7.4 million subs on YouTube. That's totally obtainable. Jesus Christ. If I did like a bunch of really well-produced comedy, you guys missed the idea light turn on. Comedy videos, maybe I could pivot back to this and claim all of my fame that everybody thinks that I'm going to be suddenly having. But like I said, like suddenly, what was it? Oh, jumperless breadboard. I've seen the project, but I don't know if that's for me. I don't know if that's for me. Is it not a great idea? I don't know. It depends on what the limitations are on the solderless jumper, or jumperless rather, breadboard are. I don't know what technology they're using to make all the connections. And I'm sure they've got it vetted out better than what I could do. But it's just not, it's so expensive. Like this is like $10. Like, you know? All right, so now things get frustrating. I need to figure out what the hell chip I ordered. What was this? What are these chips? And I need to look up the part number so that we can find the data sheet and know what all these pins do. Because the op amps are weirdly spaced out on this. And I'm sure it makes sense for some designs, but for my design, it was just a little strange. Switching ICs. So like the muxes that I have. That's right. I think I remember them saying it was like telecom switches. Yeah, that's not how we're doing this. Okay. Oh, that's what I was gonna show you guys. Check this out. So I ordered some stuff off of the Amazon. They bounced it off of Beezer's head and straight into my shop, I guess. I got a whole bunch of breadboarding stuff, a whole bunch of solder perforated prototyping. I guess it's not really, it's kind of perforated, but these were kind of expensive though. Oh, here's tantalum capacitors. That was one thing that I needed to order because we ran out of them. But then I found this stuff. SP2, 50 by 50, 2S, SMT pads, size, whatever, blah, 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 blah. This is an SMD breadboarding. Any tips on trying to find an old lens adapter for a newer DSLR? I have no idea, man. I don't know much about that stuff. I mostly guessed in order to get my system. SP2 50 by 50 2S SMT pads. Double-sided pads, unplated holes. So these holes are unplated. So if I design over them, that's totally fine. But if I wanted to, oh, this is the double-sided one. Yeah, so this has the same pattern on both sides. So I can build, supposedly, stuff with this basic size SMD directly onto this for the little SMD stuff that I want to build. The other ones that I got, I think this is single-sided. So on this, yeah, see, I can solder a little piece of wire in there and I can connect it to ground. So I can get all my grounds up out of that and then maybe use a wire for positive or whatever. But with this one, I can pull whatever signal to the other side and use that. I don't know if these will be totally useful. They were a little bit expensive. I think this is 17 bucks. It's kind of ridiculous. We can still crack it along the lines though if we need to. I don't know if this will be of particular advantage or not. I'm going to put it to the side, and if we come across something that I want to build a little tiny SMD circuit on, then we'll pull this stuff out and see if it's useful at all. Yeah, I guess the big one is double-sided. This one has a full ground plane. Some of them have more complicated stuff too. Let me double check that price. Let me make sure I'm telling the right thing here. Go to Amazon. And this thing is still signed in because I've been signed in for a million years. Look at my orders. You guys don't get to see this. 50 by 50. $7. Sorry, $7. $7 is still asking a lot. Seven, not 17. It's the wrong number. It's the wrong number. $7. Yeah, I don't want you guys to see that purchase. It was a very, very personal purchase. Okay, so these go away because they're exposed copper and I don't want them to get all weird. $7 is like an okay price. I don't know. It's not great. A little bit expensive for what it is. But if it comes in handy, then, you know, hey, then I'm sold. But for now, these are just going to go up top. Other thing I got was single-sided perforated prototyping boards. This is what I should have built the 100-volt kicker on. This would have been perfect because all of my near connections would have gone up here along with all the components, and then all of the wires go down here where there's no chance that it'll get in the way of something. And then you know that if you put it down on the table, you're not going to get like a little piece of wire that'll short it out and blow up your whole house. I think those would be cheaper than through-hole perf boards. They don't have to drill a ton of holes. It's volume. That's the whole thing, is they make 10 million of these, and they're plated and everything, and these are just some guy's idea, somebody's idea that's going to come to fruition as a prototyping board. These should be more common. Surface mount is easier, but they're not, so they're $7. It's all about volume with electrical stuff. All about volume with EE stuff. Okay, back to the mines. Back in the mines. Stuff that I don't want to do, like looking up what this op amp is. This is the production stuff I'm doing on Wednesday. I'm gonna fix, put titles on all these screens, and we'll have slightly more visual acuity to it all, and I can smooth out Node Red and get my Stream Deck to work perfectly. And then have like text boxes that I can put text in for when I'm BRBing. I'm going to work on that on Wednesday. And then maybe I'll dedicate a little bit of time to this circuit here. What is the op amp that I chose? Did I not write it down anywhere? It's like in my personal notes. The TVA 6120 is the headphone amp. Mix one. I'm looking for any op amp name in here. I didn't tell me. I didn't write it down anywhere. What about in this MS Paint? I have multiple MS Paints for this one project. So that's frames. This is very much not the design as of right now. Actually, not the design. These are just like scratch pad MS Paints. And that one is just a concept. Well, if I type operational op amp top 10, something weird, open scan, and then open Spotify, DigiKey. It's all voltage regulators and one wire temperature sensor. 884062? I don't think that's right. Oh, maybe it is. It says it's an op amp and a buffer amp. Let's see if any of these part numbers are visible. Oh, 33.4 A2M. A2K 334. All right, so this is not the right one. A2K 334 op amp. Purple audio. No. A2K 334, let's put a space in there. Tycho, no, that's not right. Optical encoder, no. One gang variable resistors, sold. DigiKey, maybe? No, if I search through my email on the other computer, I can get the part number. Let me go get the part number, one sec. I go get the part number over here with my email. So just look up a DigiKey order. Invoice, rather. DigiKey invoice from March 6th or from November of 2024. Let's try November of 24. ADA, analog devices, ADA 4062, is that right? Let's copy that and just, oh wait, there it is. IC op-amp JFET 4 circuit, 16 FCSP. That's what it is, ADA 4062 is what chip we're using. A 4062. Data sheet. Low power JFET op amp. And we're using this one here. Look at you, you little JFET bastard. So now I know what all the pinout is. Ooh, that's hurting a little bit. Something's, hold on. This is going to be spicy. Don't want to disturb the microphone. All data sheet, they'll have it for $50. You know, All Data Sheet's been a good website, let's be honest. You know, they don't have a ton of ads. They do have a lot of ads. They are relatively annoying to navigate, but they will always have the data sheet, even if it's not the right one. DigiKey is really good for archiving and stuff, but I mean, sometimes when your back is to the wall, it's a good website. So I need to run a little errand. I need to do a little IRL stuff. So I'm probably going to be wrapping it up in just a second here. But this is the op amp that we're using. It's got this just batshit crazy pinout. All I need to do now is just go through one end to the other, building this circuit. And we will pick up where we left off with this one. I want to get this done because I really need to figure out what's going on with all these signals. I already have a board that has the amplitude conversion stuff on it. We built up this little daughter board here that I can plug in, and we can get that hooked up to the V2164s. We've got the headphone output over here. We probably want to do this thing end to end, so I am going to have to use basically everything in my box of tricks. How many op amps are we going to need, at least for this test? We are going to need, well, we're only doing one channel, so it's literally just everything that's on the screen. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we don't have multiples of 5, so it's going to take 2 of these to wire it up. We'll have a couple floating op amps in this whole thing. And then for the final board, it's 10. That means that I have 2 op amps that are just hanging out. That's not good. We'll have to think about whether or not we can do something to minimize the number of op amps on this thing. But yeah, okay, so I think that's a wrap for me. It's a lot of work just kind of doing circuit theory today and getting all of our ducks in a row, making sure I've still got the stuff that I need in order to build this. And then we're going to vet out whether or not the phase of our audio remains true through our design. When we mix the 2 signals together, we want them to be in the same phase, as in not inverted, because the op amps are the configuration that we're using them in so that they can drive the voltage levels really nicely. They are inverting. We're not doing non-inverting op amps. So, and most of the stuff we're doing is unity gain. There's a lot going on with this circuit. We're going to get a little deeper into it next time. We're done with circuit theory. We know what we're going to do. We have to do it. So we'll get to doing all that stuff today. The only little tidbit that you guys can take away from today is how to solder potentiometers down. And that bothers stream still works. Most of the stuff I still have working. I'm going to get into some of the nitty gritty and the little details on the stream presentation in the next couple weeks and stuff. I mean, I would love to be able to have something small that can go up or down when the music is playing so that you guys know what the track is and I don't have to do the, pause to credit the music every single time. You just get it down there. That'd be pretty cool. Maybe a visualization too. That'd be neat. Okay, well, I'm going to be back on Thursday for all 5 people watching. I would raid, but everybody's going to be playing Oblivion today. There's only a couple people that aren't doing that because it is a pretty major release, even though it's just a remaster. I had a lot of fun playing that game, so I'm maybe going to give in to temptation tonight and actually buy it. But I got to go get groceries. I'll talk to you guys later. Check out my Discord. I did not update the end cards, so the timing on this is going to be bad. Just know that I'll be back on Thursday. Here's all my social media stuff. It's actually in a weird spot. Should be probably over here, maybe a little larger. Oh, but it shouldn't spill over like that. I need to make it wider. That should be, you're still connected, Lawn Dog. Good to hear. Hold on a sec. I need to go to studio mode before these disappear. Go to frameless chat, and then I need to actually widen it somehow. That's not the right one. Chat, undo this. Bring you guys. Doesn't work like that. Okay. Wait, how do I make it? How do I control the width? Wait a minute. Or do I have to really stretch it? Hold on, let's go here. And no, it went away. No. There you go. How wide do I have to make this? It's not changing its width. I think it has a fixed width in the URL. Oh, here we go. Not 900. Okay, I'm getting there. Uh, 1,000, 1,200. Less than 1,200. 1,100. The word the. 1080. Oh, fixed it. Okay, so 1080 is the width of this thing. Oh, wait, bring it back. We're multiple end cards today. I'm so sorry. These are the growing pains of a stream. How do you zoom out in OBS? Control DF. There we go. That is full size. Is everybody on there? It is. Okay, cool. That's like the full 1080p width of the stream scene. So I go back. I go out of studio mode. I can make that you guys a little smaller. Bring you off of the edge. There we go. I'll have you go up, like way up into the world. And then if I go to this one, oh, you guys are gone. frameless. Oh, I need to add frameless chat. Scene, frameless chat. Do that. And then I need end on end on end. Yeah, we're endoing. Bah. There we go. And then we'll bring that. Needs to be super duper huge and basically right next to my face. That, and it'll be a little cut off. So that looks like it is this. So I'll bring you guys down and over just a little bit like this. So now if I'm looking at my computer screen and I'm reading chat, it looks like I'm looking at this window right here. And then if I do the comedy zoom in, it looks like we've zoomed in on that window that I'm looking at again. It's a little bit off, but I'm not gonna totally split hairs on that one because it's just a visual funny haha gag. Yeah, I like that. I love stuff like that. For the music thing, Nutty has made some stuff already for Spotify and maybe YouTube. I don't know who you're talking about. What are we talking about? Okay, thank you guys for watching. I'm going to blow up my stream and delete everything and disappear from this earth. No, I'm going to be back on Thursday. I'll be back on Thursday. You know, I'm not prone to freaking out and deleting everything that I've worked so hard to build, all 5 people watching. So back on Thursday, we're going to do more mixer stuff, and we're going to put this circuit together. We're going to finally get all the connections made. We've got all our stuff. Gathering stuff is a big deal with this stuff. So catch me then. Until then, I'm going to go touch grass and then go shopping. So I will see you guys later. Oh, to show music playing on stream? Who's that? Hold on. Yeah, thank you for reminding me. Nutty for Spotify, YouTube audio. Nutty, Spotify, YouTube audio. I'm going to get this to this no sooner than tomorrow. The best now playing music widget for your stream. Cool. Okay, so I've got that up on this screen. It's going to stay up. I don't think this computer is going to do an update. So when I get to this on Wednesday, I'll take a look around there. Yeah, vitamin D. Get your vitamin D. I take it externally. Well, I've forgotten to for a couple months. I need to go do that. Dun, 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 dun. Where did that scene go? I forget where that scene went. Those are the frames. Oh yeah, it's way down here. All right, I'll see you guys on Thursday.